Hey guys, so this week on the podcast, you are getting a special treat. Now, y'all know I do events at the end of the year. Speak Your Way to Cash Live is coming up in October, but last year we did an event called Black Women Sell Live, and baby, it was off the chain. And I'm about to show y'all the opening session for this event. It was all about psychological warfare and how to combat it. And the reason I'm showing it to you all is because right now in this country, a lot of people are scared, they are fearful, they are wondering what they're gonna do. We've had a new president come in, and that has brought a whole lot of change. And whether you were happy about the election or not, you need to know how to keep your mind stayed on the right things over the next 4 years and beyond. So lean in, get your notes. I'm about to show you the opening session for Black Women Sell Live on how you can protect your mind, your thoughts, and overcome any mental barrier that is gonna stop you from skyrocketing past whatever revenue goal you set this year. And do me a favor, like this video, subscribe to this channel, and share this video with 3 people. And if you are a speaker looking to land paid speaking contracts, I want you to go to www.speakyourwaytocashsummit.com and register for our free Your First Corporate Offer Summit. It's going to be amazing. All right, that's all my announcements. Get your popcorn, get your pen, get your paper. Introducing the opening session for Black Women Sell Live. Enjoy.
If you here to make sure your kids ain't gotta work for the rest of their life and they can take over your business, stand up. When you first start a business, don't nobody see you shine. When you first start a business, don't nobody say you beautiful. When you first start a business, ain't nobody on your lives. And so you cling to this corporate ladder. Is there anyone in here who felt like anxiety was gonna take them out? They worried about every little thing, but now they got a revelation and now they free. And they don't have to think about things the same way, because that's proof. And all of a sudden, this has been on stage the whole time. Did y'all know it was a whole bag of money right here? I didn't even see it. Why didn't I see it? Because I was too caught up with my enemies.
Energy high, excuses low. Energy high, excuses low. Energy high, excuses low. Energy high.
Y'all make some noise, make some noise, make some noise, make some noise for Ashley Kirkwood!
Yes. Hello, hello, hello. All right. Now I see we got some people that's tired. Some of y'all must not forget. Some of y'all used to work a 9 to 5 and be up way earlier than this. So I don't know why y'all sitting down. Okay? So let's do this again. If you're a powerful woman, stand up. All right, some of y'all moving slow. So let me say, if you're an overcomer, stand up. If you went through some stuff to get here, but you're here, stand up. If you're here to make sure your kids ain't gotta work for the rest of their life and they can take over your business, stand up. If you're here to show your family more than just work and sleep, stand up. One of our mantras at Speak Your Way to Cash is, sell more services, live more life. A lot of people want to have a business, not to work until they die, but to live more life. How many of you all saw the women along the walls outside? Anybody? Woo! Okay, so before we get started, here's what I want to do. Y'all ready? Say ready. Y'all ready? Say ready. All right. I want us to applaud for every woman on that wall who never got her shine. I want us to applaud for Mary Ellen Pleasant. I want us to applaud for Annie Turnbow. I want us to applaud for Maggie Lena Walker. I want us to applaud for every black woman that came before us that didn't get her respect, that didn't get her book, that didn't get her event, that didn't get what she came for, that didn't get her recognition, that had to pass away without a tombstone, who had to overcome racism, slavery, sexism, and everything else so we could be here yelling, I want us to shout. Okay, now y'all can sit on down. I just wanted to make sure y'all were ready. Any powerful in the, y'all powerful, say we in here. All right. Now can I tell y'all something? And now how real can we be? Can we be real? Can we be real raw? Okay, because somebody said, what's the difference between Black Women Sell Live and Speak Your Way to Cash Live? And I was like, okay, let me tell you. Now, Black Women Sell Live was created for Black women. It's in the name. And it was created for Black women because so many spaces weren't created with us in mind. And so everybody that get on them elevators, whether they here for this event or not, they will see our ancestors. One of the women from the hotel, she walked in and she was like, okay, so when you said you would brand the hotel, we didn't quite know exactly what you meant. I was like, honey, this is American history. Just because it looked like me don't mean it ain't your history too. Because every woman out there paved ways for white women too. Asian women too. Indian women too. Every woman too. This is American history. And when I was studying for this event, there were two women that just kept staying heavy on my mind. Now, here's the thing. Every time I do an event, y'all want to hear the behind the scenes of my process? Say behind the scenes. I don't even teach my mastermind this. I know they're going to be mad at me, but here's why. When I teach you all how to prepare for a speech, I'm going to give you a framework. Someone say framework. But can I tell y'all how I prepare for speeches? It don't always fit with the framework. And it's hard to teach. When I prepare for speeches, I study. Someone say study. And I study until the Holy Spirit gives me a revelation about what to say. There were two women that God had me to read about. Now, he had me reread the book of Esther. If you've heard of Esther, raise your hand. And then he had me read a lot about Mary Ellen Pleasant. And Mary Ellen Pleasant, her born name was actually Williams, which is my maiden name. She's my favorite Black woman entrepreneur. And last year, when I spoke about Mary Ellen Pleasant, I didn't tell y'all the full story. Say, tell us. Now, I told y'all that she was one of the first Black women millionaires, right? So y'all heard that part, but I'm gonna say it again. Mary Ellen Pleasant was one of the first Black women millionaires because her husband left her today's equivalent of about $40,000. She was really, really smart. She didn't go to a lot of schooling, though, because she realized, and this is so good. How many of you all, anyone in here not have a college degree? Raise your hand. Oh my God, you just like Mary Ellen Pleasant. See, because this is the 1800s and so her parents had her go stay with a family, a white family, and they thought that they were gonna put her in school. Someone say education. But they didn't do that because, people lie. Say people lie. How many of y'all been lied on? Y'all just like this millionaire woman I read about. And so she didn't get a lot of education, but what they did for her was they put her in a position to see commerce. Someone say commerce. There's something that Mary Ellen Pleasant says. She said, I am a capitalist for justice. Now, many Black women and men and people have been taught that capitalism is a dirty word. But my sister Mary Ellen Pleasant knew different. See, because she realized that although they didn't give her traditional schooling, she had a choice. Somebody say two options. Option one was to spend the majority of her time reading and writing and studying traditional education. Say that's option one. Now, option two was that she could actually spend her time studying people. Someone say people. See, now she says studying people, but what I would say is that what she studied was sales psychology. And so instead of spending all her time reading and writing, she said one has to lead. Someone say focus. See, that's a lot of our problem. We don't understand that something is gonna have to lead. And she said, I could do that education stuff, but I just need to know enough reading and writing to study people, because if I understand how people work, then I can go ahead and get rich. Anybody wanna say, I'ma get rich? Because rich is the first step to wealth, but everyone skips rich and goes right to wealth. And it's interesting because without a little bit of riches, you can't invest no extra money to get wealth. Can I get an amen? So the truth of the matter is Mary Ellen Pleasant was ahead of her game. She was talking about sales psychology way before all these folks writing these marketing books. So she had these two options. She was like, I'm gonna study people. So she studied. Now, sisters, look, this is what Mary Ellen Pleasant did. I'm not saying this is what you should do. I'm just saying that at the time of the height of her resources, she was worth $850 million. In the 1800s. My sis was on track not to be the first Black woman millionaire, but for racism, she would have been the first Black woman. Come on, somebody. And they ain't even telling you her name. Well, why is that? Because they'd rather you focus on the housewives. Can I talk a little bit spicy? They want us focused on the drama of these catty women that got a couple M's from whatever. But the truth of the matter is, if we go way back in history, we realize that our standard was never reality TV. It was the reality of black women in business. So she said, no, I'm gonna study people. And so she sat back as the clerk at a store. And see, my sis was single. Because after her husband passed away, she moved, went to a new place. She working in this store, so she sat back. And she was looking at the men that walked in. Now, where my single sisters at? Baby, I'm about to help y'all out. She would look at the men that walked in, and it was one man that walked in, and she said he was just so fine, but she ain't jumped. She just noted it. She just noted it. And then she just started striking up a conversation because she wanted to see what was on his mind. Now, he looked white, so she had to be careful. See, Mary Ellen Pleasant was much lighter than me. She actually could pass. And what's interesting is, and the Holy Spirit gave me this revelation, he was like, man, that's just what Esther did. Go on and read Esther for him. Because sometimes you pass. Sometimes you cover somebody. Sometimes you use a vernacular that everybody else can understand. Sometimes you don't show them exactly who you are. See, authenticity is a privilege we have in this time. But it was not always appropriate. And so where my sisters at that gotta cover sometimes? I want you to know you just like the first black woman billionaire. I just wanna make sure you understand that you're not being inauthentic, baby. It's called strategic. So she watched him and he looked like a white man. So she was like, okay, now I look like a white woman, but I'm actually not black. See, when you covering, you gotta make sure you don't forget who you really are. So she couldn't just go up to this white brother and hit on him because she don't know if he a racist yet. So she struck up a conversation and realized that he was an abolitionist. She was like, nah, I may be able to work with this. So she said, well, brother, what church do you go to? You know, I'm looking for a church. Now, Mary Ellen Pleasant said she wasn't Catholic, but he was, so she just went to that Catholic church. And then she didn't just go to the church. Some of y'all just go into church thinking you're gonna find a man. If the man is all after God and he a minister and a pastor, baby, you can't just go. You gotta serve. So she got on the praise team. I don't even know if my sis could sing, but she said, I realized that when I went to the church, I studied it, and I saw that the praise team was right in front. So I said, I gotta be on the praise team. And do you know she just sang her little heart out? She probably worshiped like my sister Eno. Eno is a beautiful worshiper. Have you even seen our Woman Evolve pictures? There's a picture of Eno worshiping like this. Oh, yes, Jesus. Send me the blessings, open heaven. So she was probably doing all of that. And he just noticed her. And he went to the pastor and said, can you introduce me to that sister Mary Ellen Pleasant? Can I walk her home? So they walk home, and within a couple of months, she was married. She said, I know he thought that it happened by happenstance, but it happened because I studied people. Every woman in this room who doesn't have a degree and thinks that that's holding you out, you think that it's holding you back, you think that you ain't qualified. Let me tell you something. You are more than qualified. Because every black woman that I studied before in the 1800s and the 1900s that had a degree, like my first black doctors, my first black lawyers, those were not the ones who made the most money. And you wanna know why? Someone say, tell us, Ashley. Because my sister Charlotte E. Ray, the first black woman lawyer who had to go to law school and get her undergraduate degree, she on the elevator out of respect, you know what I'm saying? But she didn't have the most money because of the racist system in which she worked. See, Madam C.J. Walker, white folks didn't care if she helped us with our black hair care, so she wasn't bothered. Mary Ellen Pleasant posed as white and had white men going to buy all her property, so they didn't even know that she was the rich one behind it. But when you get into their systems, although it can be a blessing, I'm a black woman lawyer, it also means they can see you coming. So for every woman that's ever been underestimated, this is for you. Let them think you're invisible. It'll work to your advantage because they can't see you coming. So anyways, she gets with this abolitionist and he got money. So y'all women who waiting on the man with money, don't feel bad. Back in the day, that was a means of survival. I ain't mad at it. People like, well, he gotta have 6 feet and 6 figures. Honey, that's your business, not mine. So she marries him. He has money. Eventually he passes away, gives her money, but he makes her promise him that she will use at least a piece of her money for justice. And she does. Madam C.J. Walker is listed as the first woman millionaire, not just first black, but first woman self-made millionaire. Mary Ellen Pleasant was given a piece of her wealth to start with, but what I love about her is what she was given, she multiplied. Someone say multiply it. Now, some of you are in this position. Y'all ready? Say ready. Are y'all edges slicked down or no? Okay? Some of you are in a position where you feel like because nobody gave you anything, you don't have an obligation to multiply what you have. Blaming your mom and them, blaming your daddy and them, blaming the racist in them. Who am I talking to? You ain't gotta admit it, I know you in the room. I don't need your likes, you know what I mean? I wanna say to you, the very essence of you being here, not anyone else, the reason you are in this room, you are hearing this talk, is because you have an obligation to multiply whatever you were given. If your parents weren't in your life, they gave you resilience, multiply it. If they were in your life and you saw what not to do, don't do it, multiply it. Whatever we are given, we have an obligation to multiply it. And let me talk to my sisters who feel overwhelmed. Y'all ready? Say ready. Y'all still with me? Say with you. If this is good, say good. I want you to imagine that you have a plate. Shaquille, I ain't gonna spill over on you, but I'm glad you're there. If it happens, just let me know. Just give me a wink, a heads up. Congrats to Shaquille on her first $1 million year. Let's go. The year ain't even over and she just throwing out M's, okay? Plate, y'all ready? If you are not able to eat, where the moms at? Okay, let's go here. If your baby has a plate and it's filled with food and your baby says, Mommy, I want more food, what you gonna say? Yes or no, what you gonna say? Finish your food first. I'm hearing no's. Okay, great. Whenever you are going and praying for more, when what is on your plate is making you full, that is how it looks to our Father. God, I want a bigger business. You can't even handle your job. God, I want more employees. You don't like the ones that you have. You're not stewarding them well. This is a message only for women that are ready to grow. Say grow. Some of y'all didn't even know what y'all was coming to. You just signed up because it said Black Women Sell Live. You thought, I don't even know what this is. I just know I'm a black woman, so I guess. I want to sell stuff, so I guess. You know what I mean? So what we have to start doing is manage what is on our plates well, show that we can steward what is on our plates well, so that asking for more doesn't take us out. I can't pray for big if small is taking me out. And because of the visions I've seen for my life, let me bring it home. Because of the visions that I've seen for your lives, where you're at right now is small. Not to diminish it, but it's just nothing compared to where you're going. If you believe it, say, I believe. And so one of the lessons that I learned from Mary Ellen Pleasant is that sometimes there's 3 things. Let's see if this bad boy gonna work with a girl. There's 3 things that every woman throughout history had. She had obstacles. She had opportunities. And she had ops. Where are my women at who got obstacles? Say me. Opportunities, say me. Some ops, say me. And what's interesting is sometimes we misclassify our ops. And in the next session, we have a session called Psychological Warfare, and we're gonna break down how to break free from some of those things, because I don't want to just change what you do. If I can't change how you think, you won't change what you do consistently. And so the first part of this day is getting you to believe something about yourself that maybe you've never believed before, and to think something about your future that maybe you've never thought before. Because if you can't do that, then all these millions that you want to make are just masquerading as a facade in the future that you won't walk into. The money follows your mind every single time. And many people are trying to make the money follow the negative mindset. And that's not how it works. When your mind elevates, your money elevates almost instantaneously. Once I got a revelation about who I was, all of a sudden I started working out. I don't even like working out. Who does fitness coaching in the room? Yeah. So I'm gonna help y'all out, because y'all don't be making that look appealing. Y'all be like, just get in the gym. You're gonna sweat. It's gonna feel so good. It starts my day. It gives me so much energy. But I be talking to my girl Audra. I be like, hey sis, look, I worked out, you worked out. Do you feel tired or energized? Because I feel tired. So someone's lying to me on the internet. I be like, I'm moving these workouts to the end of my day because this does not give me energy. I be working out. I be like, well, I done done my work for the day. That team going to have to take care of themselves. Y'all want me to work out, pray, do the business, be a wife, do all the things that wives got to do, then do all that other stuff? Move that to the end of the day. Put that on the calendar for the end. Y'all got it. We going messaging makeover. I want to see a fitness guru up here because we got to figure that out. But everybody got obstacles. Some people have obstacles you can't see. Anybody going through invisible obstacles? Invisible to the outside, but very really and present on the inside. Everybody has opportunities. Everybody has opportunities. Say everybody. Madam C.J. Walker had a really cool opportunity. She realized that black women always and forever have wanted to look good. But she also realized that none of the hair care products were doing a sufficient job of not only helping our hair to grow, but also making it look appealing for us to grow our hair. And then she had this other issue that she couldn't really find talent to help her grow the business. Anybody ever have a problem hiring? It feels like it's challenging, like people don't want to work the same way. And so she had this issue, and then she couldn't hire from skilled labor because before she built her sales force, black women weren't even allowed to have sales jobs at this caliber. But it was an opportunity because where no one else would hire black women to do what she was hiring them to do, it meant that she had a hungry workforce. And some of you are looking to hire the people that everybody else wants to hire. But when you in a startup business, when you just getting started, you need to analyze the market and figure out, where is my hungry workforce? I discovered that teachers are actually amazing salespeople. They also are underpaid in society. That's an opportunity. So I can work with teachers and be like, look, baby, I know you've been in that classroom, but here's what we gonna do. I'm gonna teach you how to sell our products. You're gonna get 10%. This is gonna change your life. Here's what it's gonna look like. And now we have an opportunity. And then everybody has ops. Everybody has ops. Everybody has ops. And so one of the things that we realized, go to the slides for me, is these women. Let me tell you about Maggie Lena Walker. She actually is the first woman to charter a bank. A bank. Now, y'all know people now who be like, oh, I don't have any money. And really, that confession almost guarantees that you won't have any money. Oh, I can't afford it. Maggie Lena Walker had to convince people to open a savings account bank with her. Back then, there was still this image that black isn't right or righteous. Now, that image did not just exist amongst white people. Y'all know that, right? One of the evils of systematic racism is that it changes the viewpoint of an entire class of people for everybody, including the class of people it changes it about. So that's why some of you, probably none of you, I'm gonna turn around. That's why some people say they can't get ahead unless they get a white coach. Who gonna be honest and say they heard that one before? They just seem to do it better. I'm like, that just tells me you ain't worked with enough people of different races. Because as someone who worked at the top firm in the world, I worked at the same firm as Michelle and Barack Obama, where they met with Sidley and Austin. I had my job there. Then I went on to Kirkland and Ellis. They are the highest grossing firm in the world right now. And let me tell you, it's not about color at all. At all. Maggie Lena Walker had to convince people who didn't want her offer to buy it, even though they did not believe that she could even pull it off. Anybody feel like they got an uphill battle communicating value? Anybody want to know what Maggie Lena Walker did that you could do? Say, tell me. What she did was she went on a speaking tour. And not only did she speak about getting in her bank, some of you are only speaking about buying your offer, and that's not how you do it. What she spoke about was who they needed to become to buy the offer. She said black people have to have a savings account. That's called financial justice. She said we can't keep trusting white people to run our money. That's called stupidity. They literally were slave owners. She said the only way that we as a people will get ahead economically is by providing a way for us to manage our own money and come together as a collective. Do you know that Maggie Lena Walker's bank that was founded in the 1800s was in existence until 2009? That's called legacy. Mary Ellen Pleasant tripled her money through real estate investments, boarding houses, dry cleaners, but also through investments. She invested in this really small company, maybe some of you all have heard of it, called Wells Fargo. Maggie Lena Walker, she said, history books write about her, that when she spoke, stadiums showed up. Some of you are confused about something. Can I help you? Say, help us. In the very beginning of my business, y'all, it would be one person on that Instagram Live. Wasn't nobody. I was talking to that one person like my life depended on it. I was like, and the 3 things you have to do to grow your business. Number 1, mindset. Gotta fix your mindset. We are millionaires. I didn't have millions, but I knew I was gonna have millions. I was like, you are bigger than your circumstances. Way back on that life. Y'all saw the college graduation speech. I had a 2.1. I barely graduated. But I still use my voice. And then I couldn't even get into law school because I had a 2.1, so I found a law school that I could basically stalk the admissions counselor until she let me in. And then once she let me in, they let me into this conditional program. Like, if you pass this program, you can get into full law school. But like, if you don't pass this program, then you ain't gonna be no lawyer. And I was like, not only am I gonna get in, I'm gonna get all A's. That lady was like, how you gonna get all A's, girl? I seen your transcript. I was like, don't worry about that. So after I said it, That's the first part. It's easy to say it. But then I had to believe it. So every time I ask y'all to say something, I need you to say it with your chest. Say, I will be a millionaire. I will change generations. I will change my bloodline. I will overcome every obstacle. I will never make excuses. But after you say it, you gotta believe it. So what I did is I went in the corner in my desk. I was married at the time. I used to mess up all my husband's workbooks. That man loves me. And I would write down my name with A's next to it, and I would print it out, and I would look up what transcripts look like, and I would make my own transcript. I ain't submitted nowhere, but then I would put it up, and then I would just look at it every day, and I was like, I am gonna get all A's. And every time it got hard to study, I wrote out, I will get all A's. I wrote out, it will work for me. First year, got all A's, #1 person in that program. Went to law school at John Marshall. It was like ranked bottom 50. Now it's called UIC Law. I looked at the average salary. Someone say, follow the money. I looked at the average salary out of that law school is $50,000. With almost like less than 10% having a job at graduation. I was like, well, I can't put 3 years into this without it making sense. Because one of the things that's, y'all, can I just break down a little bit of systematic racism? That's okay? Man, this made me mad. One of the things that systematic racism does is it gets you focused on the wrong piece of paper. So of course, black women are the most educated in society, and that doesn't make anyone mad as long as we ain't the highest paid. Because there's something that my sister Ida B. Wells said. She was a prolific author. She used to write about people who had money, and she used to write critically of them and really criticize black people who had money that weren't the faces of justice. But one thing that Ida B. Wells later learned that she didn't know originally is that sometimes if you are going to be the financier of justice, you may not be able to be the voice of justice at the same time. And so when Ida B. Wells got in trouble and she needed some money, she wrote to a brother named Church. And she said she had criticized him before though, right? She was really critical of this guy named Church. I mean, wrote a whole article in the paper. Imagine, Dr. Judy, somebody writing a bad article about you and then months later asking you for money. But Church had the character of a wealthy person. Let me tell you what he did. He read the letter that she wrote about him. It was scathing. She called this man everything but a man of God. And he read it. And he noted it, and he saved it. And he started reading everything that Ida B. Wells wrote because he actually loved her writing style. Some of you will only learn from people that you like and that make you feel good. You want coaches that are really mothers. You want your coach to tell you pretty and you cute and you always do the right thing. But if you have a big assignment in your life, then the person assigned to you is gonna call you up every time. They're gonna show you where you're doing wrong and still encourage you when you need it, because if they're assigned to you, they know when to push and they know when to pull back. So he noted it. So months later, Ida B. Wells asked church for some money and he gave it to her. After that day, she changed from writing about the financiers of justice as though they were evil, and she said this. She said, one wealthy man is worth 1,000 politicians. And she said, not all of us are gonna make millions. How many of y'all know everybody ain't gonna do it? But those of us that will do it are supposed to take care of those that can't do it by having a lens of justice, because that's what justice looks like. And so I love that story of Ida B. Wells. And so one of the things that we need to be careful about, and one of the things that we need to do, is don't just be caught up in only listening to people who you like. CJ Walker, look at this headline. Is your hair short? Is that copy? Y'all starting off y'all posts with the wrong things. Do you want to go to the gym 10 days a week? Nope. Is your back big? I'm just saying, Madam CJ Walker could have wrote that copywriting book today. Sis said, is your hair short? Let me tell you what someone that knew Madam CJ Walker said. They said every time she showed up, she was in a full-length mink coat. They said she stepped every time, had jewels on, looking like she was looking, because she knew she was selling to sisters. You know, sisters throughout centuries love a good look. So depending on who your audience is, you need to show up the way your audience shows up, and you need to be talking in the way they're thinking. Because sure enough, they was thinking, yeah. But then she went even deeper. She was low-key signifying, breaking off, thin, or falling out. Come on, pain points. Yo, Shaquille told us yesterday, if you ain't selling to the pain, you ain't doing nothing. She straight up gangsters her people. She said, you ain't gonna get no job. Better get it together. Better buy this product. Here's the thing. Some of you are acting like your product is an option versus the only choice. How many of y'all believe there's somebody who makes more money than you doing a worse job than you could do for your people? Raise your hand. Now stand up if you're willing to go to war for your clients. Because if you care about them, you're going to talk to them in a way that they can respond. You just going to let the people just go to the inferior choice? Get over here, work with a winner, baby. That lady said, is it falling out? Look, is your back big? Are you pre-diabetic? Do your knees hurt when you go upstairs? Are you tired that you can't run around with your kids on the playground? Are you worried about going to the family reunion? You're gonna lose the relay race again. We need to get it together before the summer. Hello? This is copy. We can learn a lot from our sisters who did it before us. And then she got a sales army of women who she was able to train. People talk about her as like a hair care giant, and she was. She invented that MLM stuff. That ain't nothing to her. She is the inventor of that industry. She is the inventor of direct sales. Mary Kay, I don't care about that. She is the inventor of that industry, galvanizing women, showing them as the example of who they can be, what they can do. Y'all, I'm here to help y'all. Let me stop yelling. My vocal coach in the back, she like, Jesus, she ain't tell me she was gonna do all this. I need to tell y'all who I am. Can I tell you who I am? Because some of y'all don't know. Raise your hand if it's your first event. Welcome. We gonna get busy. Can we give it up for people who say first time? Round of applause. Round of applause. So I'm here to help, but who am I? Now, y'all know Coach Bree. Bree didn't know I was gonna have this slide in here. Me and Coach Bree is a coach in our mastermind. You all will hear from her. This is me and Brianna in college. Now, baby, in college, we used to throw them parties. That was one of the flyers from our parties. Me and Bree was tight on the door, too. I handled the door. I collected the cash. She made sure the dudes, because we work with some guys, because, see, can I tell y'all to play? Okay, now, here's the thing. Who went to college? Raise your hand. Who knows about the alphas? Okay, any alphas in the room? Okay, we could talk free, because it's Black Women Sell Live. Okay, AKAs, I ain't gonna say nothing about your bros, so don't even come at me. Okay, we see y'all in here, so y'all know what I'm about to say is true. Now, we needed the alphas to get the people there. They were basically our influencers. So we didn't just plan parties on our own, we planned it with the alphas, because if we could say the party was with the alphas, all the girlies was gonna come. But I didn't care about kicking it with the alphas as much as I cared about getting that money at the door. Now, we negotiated getting paid. This was one of our flyers. This is the after party at the after party. Ladies free before 11 p.m. Now, this was an ugly flyer, but it did its job. Now, many of you are like, well, I'm not popular enough. My influence isn't big enough. Well, you better find whose influence is and partner up with them. Because this is what we did in college, and I'll never forget making thousands of dollars at the door. I made so much money at the door that I went and got one of my girlfriends and was like, we could cut these alphas out. Let's do our own party. So then I throw my own party. No alphas. Ain't nobody come to that party. One of my girlfriends back in college, she had money. She was the financier of my foolishness. And so she had to pay the bar all the money we owed them because no one came to our party. And then I had to go to my dad and say, Dad, I threw a party. I thought it was gonna be a good investment. It didn't make no money. Now I owe all this money back to my friend. Please don't ruin my relationship. I gotta pay her back. So my dad let me borrow the money and I paid the girl back, but I learned a lesson. Many people copy what they think looks easy, not knowing the back end. Alpha Phi Alpha has been around since the early 1900s. It already has credibility and establishment. And the brothers was given the looks that the girlies liked. I wasn't given the looks that the girlies liked. And so no one came to our party. But one thing I learned about Brianna is this. She was a trustworthy friend. And so when I started to build this company, I realized that I needed trustworthy people. And so I called up Brianna, and by now she's very humble. She's not gonna tell y'all this. She's director level at a company. She has interviewed all these different celebrities. She was editor at blackdoctor.org. She has flown all over the world and done all types of incredible things. She's awarded large contracts, all of that, and she's still a great friend. So she partnered with me to make sure that Speak Your Way to Cash is what it is. So give it up for Coach Bree. Now, fitness influencers, here's another line y'all can use. Was your college waist looking thinner than your regular waist? Because, baby, I looked at this picture and said, things was in a different position. Okay? Then I went on to college at the University of Illinois, and you all saw me do the graduation speech, but while at U of I had a role called the Illini Union Director. And as a director, I had a budget of about $75,000 that I could use to hire speakers, experts, consultants, and entertainers. So how many of you want to sell to colleges? Students actually have six and multi-six-figure budgets. My budget was small because I was over cultural programming, and y'all know how they do. So the other budgets were much larger. So if you're gonna sell to colleges, you're gonna pitch the student activities director, but it may be a student who is in that position. Don't ignore them, they have budgets. Then I went on to take a position at Acquirent. At this position, I did inside sales, over 20,000 sales calls that I completed while at this job. And I loved the position. While I was at this job, at night, I would go and study for the LSAT because I didn't get into law school the first time. How many of y'all have a dream that isn't fulfilled yet because you didn't get into something? Like you were rejected, your test scores didn't come back, you feel like it's not gonna work, maybe you wanna be a lawyer, a doctor, an engineer, whatever. Okay, I didn't get into law school the first time. You know what I did? Applied again, but got better first. Many of you are quitting on things that absolutely could work if you just try again. Our first event had 10 people at it. It probably made like $500, if that. And so I accepted a position at Acquirent. While there, studied at night, went to law school, ended up getting internships at different firms, including Sidley and Austin, and I was riding my bike to work. That was back in the day. I don't ride my bike to work no more. But like, now I do play tennis. I do play a little tennis. And then on the left is me graduating from Northwestern University School of Law, cum laude. Thank you. And so all of this to say, I've been doing this. Now that picture on the left is really important. It says Big Law on the front. Can y'all even spot me in this picture? Because I'm like the one little chocolate drop. I was like, what I'm gonna do is be in front, okay? That's what I'm gonna do, Jack. Get behind there, Bob. You know what I mean? Least y'all can do. Y'all ain't gonna hire no more of us? Let me get my shine, okay? So that's me in front, but look at that picture. How many of you have worked in environments that were predominantly white? Raise your hand. Okay, the imagery of that has the propensity to make you think that you aren't good enough and you don't belong. And when you become an entrepreneur, you come to leave that environment, but you take that imagery with you. And so for the first part of your business, you're trying to undo and unwork the imagery that you don't belong and you aren't good enough. And so you start seeking approval by underpricing. Who am I talking to? Because if you underprice, then people will like you and they'll show you that you're worthy and you get some money and you get a yes. And even though it's not what you need to survive, you're excited because you got something. But what I'm telling you is the reason why you learned to climb the corporate ladder, baby, was not right. I'm strong out here. I told y'all I play tennis. Fitness people coming at me. They picture me right now in the DMs. Well, Ashley, it looked a little weak on the left side. If you would just come and work with me, 1997 for 3 weeks. Give me the real price. Don't pitch me with the I think she rich price. The reason you learned to climb that corporate ladder was not to get approval of those people. It was to learn the skill set that is going to inevitably help you create your own ladder. And for a lot of people, this is how we view the corporate ladder. Gold. And with every step you took, you thought you were going higher. But with every step you took, you just wanted more of their validation. First, you started off as an associate, and that was okay, and you were making a little bit of money, and it was a little bit easier to leave that job, but then you make 6 figures, and now it's like, okay, I know Mary is disrespectful, but it's okay, because if Mary says that I'm good, then I'm good. And then you have something calling you, like your actual dream, your actual passion, your actual business. But instead of getting off of work and giving what you need to give to your actual business, you don't. Because your business looks like that. Because when you first start a business, don't nobody see you shine. When you first start a business, don't nobody say you beautiful. When you first start a business, don't nobody say you rich. When you first start a business, ain't nobody on your lives. And so you cling to this corporate ladder. Because on this ladder, your family looks up to you. And on this ladder, your employees look up to you. And on this ladder, you have direct reports. But over there, you ain't got no team. Over there, you got to work with VAs, and you don't even know where they at in the world, and you don't even know if they going to respond. But over here, you got a whole team, and you get paid every 2 weeks. And even though you go home and you're not happy, you cling to the corporate ladder. And they treat you awful. But on the bright side, it looks like I'm shining. And at some point, your identity becomes the ladder. At some point, you can't leave it because you feel like it is you. When I became a lawyer, that was my identity. When people would ask me who I am, I would be like, first off, I'm a lawyer. That's number one. Like, I know you didn't ask because I'm just checking out at the Trader Joe's line, but I just thought maybe you should know who you were checking out for. I am a lawyer. And honestly, y'all, that's not even our fault, because when I read the story of Charlotte E. Webb, do you all know she tried one big case on behalf of a domestic violence survivor? The only reason she got her law license is they thought she was a man because she used her initials on the bar application. But once they saw her try this case and win this case, they stripped her ability to run her firm by icing her out and not allowing any financial resources to come to her law firm, so she couldn't practice law. So a part of why our identity is clinging to these identities is because we know, even if we don't know the history, our genetics know that there were people who came before us who couldn't do it. So baby, everybody gonna call you a lawyer, and baby, everybody should call you a doctor, because the first black doctors and the first black lawyers didn't get their respect. But can I help the people out who got all these degrees? You are going to have to untangle your identity from your ladder. And you're gonna realize that with every step you come down, you still hold your worth. And even if it doesn't look like you're shining, you still shine. And even when it looks like you leaving all the money up here. Like literally, and this ladder don't look cute, and this ladder ain't got shine. But in the beginning, the reason why the ladder ain't got no shine is because every great person gets good in the dark. And when you just starting out something, you don't want everybody to see you. I didn't want all y'all on that live. I was still figuring out my voice. I was still figuring out my identity. I was still working through my hurt. I was still speaking through my pain. I needed to figure out my voice. And many of you are like, well, if I could just get a speaking coach to teach me how to speak, then I would be okay. No, because here's the thing. You get great by doing, not by thinking. Do you know how many great minds are unknown because they never produced? This is called State of the Black Woman Entrepreneur. 86% of Black women entrepreneurs that I surveyed identified as thought leaders. Less than 40% had books. One of the reasons why we don't know the names of Mary Ellen Pleasant and we know Madam C.J. Walker, but Mary Ellen Pleasant and Maggie Lena Walker, if you've never heard of Mary Ellen Pleasant or Maggie Lena Walker but for being at one of our events, raise your hands. Did y'all know it was a sister in the 1800s who made $850 million? Did y'all know that the first woman to charter a plane was a Black woman? One of the reasons why we don't know is because they don't have books. Now, they couldn't have had them in the traditional sense, but what's our excuse? Your ladder gonna look black like this. It's gonna blend in, and that's good, because that gives you time to get great. And with every step you take, even though it's black, you're going higher. With every step you take, you get more comfortable and confident. And after a while, before anyone realizes it, they call you an overnight success, not realizing that each step of the ladder took you 5 years. Not realizing that you had to untangle your identity from one that was given to you by a system that you shouldn't have trusted to begin with. Every step of the ladder, you go higher. And here's the thing about height and elevation. Even if people don't want to see it, they do. I don't know how many feet in the air those airplanes are, but every time one walks by, my daughter says, Mommy, look at the airplane. Why? Because it's high and it's loud. And the truth of the matter is people want to be high and loud before they're good, and that leads to a quick downfall. But the reason Maggie Lena Walker's bank lasted until 2009 is because it wasn't just high and loud, it was solid. And I know we live in the instant generation world, right? I know we live in the put it on Instagram so everybody can like it, right? But are there any women in the building that are okay getting good first? Are there any women in the building that want to make sure their businesses outlast their lifetime? So then you're going to need this ladder right here. It ain't going to look as cute. But what happens when you make a little bit of money is you can then hire someone to do that. And unlike that ladder where you only get to keep it and you only get to shine if they allow you to, you can make this one look however you want. Because this one is yours. And I want to speak to the woman who's felt like her business hasn't worked in a while. I want to talk to the woman who feels like sales have been a little rocky for a minute. And I want to specifically talk to the woman who goes to work every day actually wishing in her mind that she was at home running her business. It will grow. You won't fail. You do have what it takes. But you're going to have to climb this ladder. And every single woman, Madam C.J. Walker, Mary Ellen Pleasant, Maggie Lena Walker, they all did it with community. So look left and look right. This is your community for the weekend. These are the women that are going to hold you down. If you're going to hold the sister down, say, I'll hold you down, sis. I'll hold you down, sis. Y'all, this was my first ever speaking engagement, $100. Just a couple years later, a company handed us a check for $25 to do something virtually. $25,000 to do something virtually. This was me on TV shows, and I started a law firm called Mobile General Counsel. I was in Forbes and did all of that without a publicist by sharing my voice. How many of you are writers? Raise your hand. Okay. How many of you believe you are a speaker, like your best form of communication is speaking? Okay. I need you to do this. Sell in the manner of your strengths. If you are a speaker, speaking is what's gonna sell for you. If you are a writer, writing is what's gonna sell for you, but you gotta write from your soul. Because if you write like you on this corporate ladder, good evening, everyone. I would just like to say my name is Ashley Nicole Kirkwood, and I am very honored to be before you, and I just wanna give you 3 points on how to grow your business, you know, if that's okay with you. It won't be boring. Just give me some time. And no, you're gonna have to ditch your representative. And a part of that for me meant using my voice long enough until I figured out how it really sounds. And so I went on this TV show, The Jam, and I will never forget my first time on that show. I was so nervous. I was so uptight. I was totally giving representative. They wanted me to talk about the Supreme Court justice cases that were happening and whether or not there was sexual assault involved and whether I thought the witnesses were credible, because I wasn't just a lawyer. I was a trial lawyer. Trial lawyers are the lawyers who go to war for you. We a little bit aggressive, but we get our stuff done. You know what I mean? Any trial lawyers in the room? Okay. Back up. I see back up. All right. Then you got transactional lawyers. They're the collaborative lawyers. They're the, okay, we're gonna get this deal done. They were like, nah, baby, you trial. Okay, you giving trial lawyer today. So I was a trial lawyer, and I got on that show, y'all, and I did awful. I was just so uptight. I was like, yes, I think that maybe, I think that she was very credible, and I think that this hearing should really just reconsider this candidate, but maybe not. Like, I was politically correct. What I really thought was, he lying, she telling the truth, and it is what it is. But I didn't say that, and I got off the stage, and I felt awful, because I was like, babe, there's no way they're gonna invite me back. I wasn't good enough. I didn't show them who I really was, and what sucks is when you lose opportunities because you're not even showing your real self. Some of your clients would love to work with you, but they don't know you because you ain't showing them you. You showing them your corporate ladder, and that ain't even who you are. That's who you were forced to be to survive. But at some point, you got to get off this corporate ladder and show people who you are. Here, the ladder isn't the prize. You are. Thankfully, they gave me another shot. And many of you all saw that video and it was all well produced and you're like, okay, I want a speaker's reel, but I can't really afford a speaker's reel like that. This is our first speaker's reel. It was done by a guy on Fiverr. I don't know his name.
The reason failure is important, even in high school. Don't fail out. Don't fail out.
To hear this speech, it was so empowering.
Chris was the videographer.
I felt like, I'm going back to school and I think I need to reevaluate something.
So I had to just think, he was like, just take a year. So our plan was, if you could be profitable in 6 months and sustainable in a year, then you can keep doing it.
One of the great things about people like Ashley is that when you get an opportunity to meet them, it humanizes them.
That was my first speech for $1,000. That was after the $100 talk.
If you look at Ashley on a billboard, which I'm sure with her drive and determination, she soon will be, they get an opportunity to talk to her, Ashley, and say, you know what is it that you did that other people were either unable or unwilling to do?
So here's what you...
Now, I show you guys that to say, you got phone footage, use it. Because that particular reel has probably brought in at least 6 figures in revenue. The fancy ones that y'all see we use now because we consider ourselves to be part media company, but that was the reel that started it all. If you're waiting to start because you believe you don't have all the things, don't nobody got all the things when they start. So just start. These were some of our early speeches. This was our first Speak Your Way to Cash live at that bottom right. I don't even know if this thing got a little pointer, but that bottom right area was our first one with 10 people. Look around. Hundreds of women in the room. But 10 people was where we started. The second one had like 30 or so people, and that was our first workbook. We always had a workbook now. That was one of our first workbooks. We was gonna get to work. Then we went virtual in 2021, and we inevitably went on the Inc. 5000 list. We've helped over 7,500 paying customers, hundreds of private clients in our mastermind programs, multiple awards, millions of dollars in revenue earned, and this year we made the Inc. 5000 list, 370 out of 5,000 companies. Visually, that's how that looks. In America. And I say that not to say that we're so great, but to say that if anybody's done anything with more than 10 people present, then you just like me. I say that to say if you ain't got no fancy speakers reel and you using phone footage from your husband, your friend, or the janitor you met outside, you're just like me. Because we gonna get the footage. It may not be the best footage, but footage we gonna get, okay? And so I tell you guys this story and a little bit about my story so that you can understand that it came down to three things: right offer, right audience, and the right pitch. And the only way you find the right offer is you continuously make offers until you find product market fit. The only way you find the right audience is that first you find yourself, and then your voice can attract the right audience. This weekend, you are going to learn sales strategies, but you are also going to learn how to identify who you really are so that you can speak from your gut, so you can be 10 toes. Because when I read speeches from Maggie Lena Walker, they have no speeches of her voice giving the talks. Actors have reenacted it, but they have transcripts. And when I read it, she was always bold, confident, and in her bag. And that's how y'all need, people buy certainty. People don't buy maybes and I don't knows. They buy certainty. Right audience and right pitch. So here's what I want to do. I want to do something with y'all. Y'all ready? We're going to get 3 minutes on the clock. Duval's going to play. I'm getting ready for overflow. You're going to write yourself a letter, but let me give you the instructions. I want you to write yourself a letter from your future self. I read some comments about people who had some really tough times getting here, who've been going through a lot. I've had various moments. We'll learn. We'll get real here. I got my feet on. I got my shoes on right now because we just getting to know each other, and a lot of y'all are new. But like second session, if they come off, just roll with it, okay? But there were some times in my life, you guys, where I felt like there wasn't even a ladder to have. Where I didn't feel like I was on the corporate ladder. I didn't feel like my entrepreneurial ladder was holding me up. I almost felt like all I could do was like get on my knees and look at my life and be like, dang, I probably made a mistake. And when you can't hang on to who you are in corporate and you don't really know who you are in entrepreneurship and you're kind of in the middle, you are trying to figure out who you are. And sometimes you're looking for everyone else to tell you who you are. But I genuinely believe that one of the insidious things about corporate is it doesn't take who you are, but it covers it up with so much of who they want you to be that you can't find who you are. And so I'm going to ask you guys to channel who you really are. And for 2 minutes, I want you to write a letter as you at 75 years old. And I want you to speak to the you now and tell you how your future turns out. And a lot of people talk about the prophetic gift, and in science, they call it the science of future self. It's essentially like similar things. But I just believe that you can speak to yourself. And what I want to give you is a tool so that if you ever, after this weekend, because you're going to feel amped up after this weekend, but after this weekend, when you go home and you got to tell yourself who you are, and Instagram can't tell you, and the housewives can't tell you, and all of that can't tell you, I need you to have a tool, someone say tool, to tell yourself who you are. So we're going to put 2 minutes on the clock, and you all are going to write a letter as your future self to you. And I can't tell you what that's going to sound like, but I can tell you when I was going through a really tough time, you guys, I wrote a letter to myself and I was like, Ashley, you are going to have a New York Times bestsellers book. You are going to help millions of women across the globe. You can't see it right now, but your business goes on to make millions of dollars. And this was before we were making millions of dollars. This was before we had a best-selling book. So whatever you write, I want you to write it as though your pen to paper or your hands to pen has the ability to pull it into right now. And I don't want you to shrink or feel bad. Some of you will do this exercise and it'll feel like, I don't know if I could really write that. That seems too big. Write it. Because one of the things that they robbed us of historically is the ability to dream. Because they thought they were giving us our future. But here, we take our power back and you give it to yourself. If you're with me, say with you. If you're ready, say ready. If you're going to dream big, say big. All right. 2 minutes on the clock. Let's go. Let me tell y'all something. If you gotta cry, cry. We got mascara. And here's the thing. There are some people that didn't just come here for an event. They came here for an evolution. And there are some people who thought they were just coming for an event, but you came to meet yourself. There's some of you that thought you were coming to meet me, but you were really coming to meet you, because as I look out over this room, I see so many women that are billionaires. I see so many women that have incredible marriages. I know that the last relationship may not have worked out, but I see you married and fulfilled. I see you happy. I see you uplifted, and I don't see, let me break this off you right now. You going higher does not mean more money means more stress. That is a lie. If you develop, because I know some broke, stressed people. Less money can mean less stress too. But what if I told you that there is a higher way to operate? That if you develop a thought process of true abundance, more money does not have to mean more stress. More team members does not have to mean more work for you. Because there are some of you that absolutely could scale and absolutely could grow, but because of what more represents in your mind, you're not doing it. Who am I talking to? And so I want to say, thank you, sis. I appreciate the call back. Hello. I want to say to you that if you give the next 3 days your all, any sentence of any part of this event could be the sentence that breaks you free from thought processes that aren't serving you anymore. And I also want to tell you that you will have love in your life. I don't care what happened in the past. I don't care what happened with your family. If there's anyone here who's married after divorce, stand up. That's proof. If there's anyone here who was cheated on but is now in a faithful relationship, stand up, because that's me. I'm proof. Is there anyone here whose first business failed but their second one made over 6 figures? Stand up. We need some proof. Hello. Is there anyone here who never thought they'd make $1 million but made $1 million? Any point in your life where you didn't think you would make it, but you were able to make it? That's proof. You can sit down now, but you may be up again. I don't know what's coming up. I really don't script this, so anything can happen. Is there anyone in here who has had days where they were crying and felt gripped by depression but are now free? Stand up, because we need some proof. Is there anyone in here who felt like anxiety was gonna take them out? They worried about every little thing, but now they got a revelation and now they free. And they don't have to think about things the same way, because that's proof. And sis, if you haven't stood up yet, my goal is by the end of this 3-day event, every woman in this room is standing up. My goal, and if you'll pray with me, I think it can happen, is if every woman in this room finds a reason to stand up and be a witness. And let me tell you something, because if you thought that you're in a room and the other people in this room happen to be bigger or better than you in any way, I want you to know you don't get in rooms like this without being the right woman. I, in fact, wanted 500 women in this room. And I told my husband, I said, babe, it doesn't look like we're gonna have 500 women. And he said, babe, in your ad, you said a prayer. And he said, babe, in your ad, your prayer was that God, only the right women would buy tickets and that all the wrong ones would get distracted. You prayed that only the right women would be in the room. You said you weren't even gonna have names on their name tags because the work you were about to do maybe can't be televised. And so every woman in this room is a warrior. So stand up. We got work to do, warriors. We got lives to change, warriors. We are the right women in this room. We are gonna wreck some things. We are gonna build some things. And we're gonna do it all side by side and together. Say it with me. We are the right women for the right time. We're building the right way. And we are going way up. Give yourselves a round of applause. Let's get it. All right, if y'all ready to get to work, say work. All right, if y'all ready to win, say win. Y'all. So my vocal coach was in the back like, I did not know you were going to be doing all of that. You were on the ladder. I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Look, we done used a lot of props. Them props don't fail. And I knew that one wasn't going to fail because my man made that prop. So Chris made that prop. So I knew it was perfect and amazing. Right, because I had on the wrong shoes this morning and I appreciate a sister recognizing, okay? My mom was like, I knew I should have came up there with you because those were not the shoes for the, she was like, but they did look good on the ladder, so I'll allow it. I'll allow it. There is who plans events? Anybody raise your hand? Y'all, it's so much that goes in. It's a lot of y'all that plan events. Come on, back up. I love when I see a little back up in the room. It's so much that goes into events. My shoes was like the least of my concern. I was like, they work, it could work, you know? And so next we're going into a session called Psychological Warfare, and I'm excited about this session because one of the things I wondered was like, what do we need to overcome in order to get to the bag? Because like I said earlier, the money follows your mind. The money follows your mind. And I don't know if y'all have looked at these books, but it's got some good stuff in here. Okay? It's got some good stuff in here. I heard my friend, it's fire. I do not have the kind of friends that lie to me. Like, you know how you be having friends that you be like, how you think my book cover looks? And they be like, oh yeah, girl, that's the one. And then they like turn to their husband and they like, that is not the one. Should I tell her? I don't think I should tell her. No, my friends be like, tell your designer to, like the video, they were like, videos were a little fuzzy yesterday. Not typically can you tell I be like, y'all be looking out for the kid. Don't have me out here looking a fool. If y'all see my shoes don't match, something is wrong. Signal to me, sis, who got me? Okay, Dr. Jamie, the stylist is right in front. I thought I'd get a text from, like, sis, they cute, but I don't know. Like, my mom was on it though, okay? So go to page 21 in your workbook. Now, this particular session came about because I was thinking, okay, so the theme of this event is really like superhero, FBI, top secret. You know what I'm saying? And because we're extra, I don't know if you realize it, but the cover of your book says it's a confidential briefing. Because only those who come here get this. And I just want to point out something on the cover of your book. Hold up the cover of your book like this. Y'all feel that soft touch laminate? That's an upgrade. That's an upsell, okay? They upsold me on that to make sure y'all fingers was feeling nice and comfortable when they read the book. Now, what does that redacted text say? Somebody get to the mic and tell me what you think that redacted text says. Come on, don't all run at once. Now, when y'all don't want hot seats and Q&As, y'all gonna be running to that mic and your legs ain't gonna be ready to get there because you're not getting there fast enough, okay? So somebody tell me what you think y'all don't even know what the prize will be. Y'all know we got prizes. Okay, tell me what you think it says.
I'm reading it as, we, that black woman, are the strongest experts the nation has seen if we realize it.
Okay. And what do you think the redacted part say?
I can't see that good. I left my
You
glasses
gotta have
in my
vision,
room.
sis.
I stand corrected. Let me get my vision back. Hold on.
Get your vision back.
Okay, we've always known that black women are the best. Wait, no, we've always known that black women amongst the strongest experts in the nation have seen. If they realize it, they go beyond. I don't know.
That's one interpretation. Okay, so what you got? Yes.
Okay, we've discovered that black women are... Help me out. Absolutely the strongest expert this nation has seen. If they realize it, everything they just said, we're unstoppable too.
Okay, so here's what it says. Y'all ready? Say ready.
We ready.
We've discovered that black women are some of the strongest experts this nation has seen. If they realize it, it's game over. Now, what game would be over? And I really thought about this, and I was like, okay, so this must mean that there is a game being played. And I love the word discover because it means that they've probably searched amongst all the experts in the world and they found that we are some of the strongest experts this world has ever seen. But if we realize it, it's game over. What does that mean? It means that they already know. But if we realize it, it's game over. And so I started to think, how is it that we don't know this yet? And then I discovered there's something called psychological warfare. And this isn't really even a spiritual thing. I mean, it is, but it ain't. Like, it's also, the thing about spiritual things is there's like spiritual things and there's like what it means in the natural, because most people understand that all things are spiritual. They just don't always like saying it out loud. Is that okay? And so in the spiritual, we call it spiritual what? Okay, but in wars, when countries go to wars with each other, they call it psychological warfare. And there were some commonalities between psychological warfare, and there were some tools that one country would use against another country to win a war. Because although wars are fought on the battlefield, they are always won in the mind. So if you go and you fight somebody on the battlefield, yeah, you fighting it on the battlefield, but the war is won in the mind. Even when I think of the story of like David and Goliath, the way he won was by literally not losing the battle in his mind. While everyone else was telling him what armor to use, he was like, nah, I think I know what to use. Now, no one else could have told him what to use because no one else would have thought that a slingshot could beat a giant. So what does that tell us? That everyone's gonna tell you what you should do, but as a coach, I don't even know if I should say this. I know this is gonna be controversial. What y'all think? Okay, because we ain't streaming it live. Where the coaches at? Give me some round of applause, the coaches. Coaches, y'all gonna have my back if I say this? All right. My sis got her cape on already, so I already know she ready to fly over and hit anybody that got problems with it, so it's cool. Some coaches only want you to do what they say. Why? Because it serves their ego. They need you to worship them. But a phenomenal coach wants to give you advice and then will say, but you have to follow the vision in your heart. Because I can only give you advice based on what I know. But God gives you each vision based on what you know. And so if I don't know what you know, I'm gonna give you the best advice for the situation. And it's your job to take that advice, think about it, and find out if it aligns with your vision. So battles are fought on the field, but they're won in the mind. And what I learned about psychological warfare is this is not just something that different countries use against each other. It's also something that businesses use against each other. When they want to kick a certain company out of business, they go through some of these tactics. And what I want to say to you is that if you can master the way you think, I call it policing your thoughts in the Speak Your Way to Cash book. If you don't have it, make sure you don't leave without it. The Speak Your Way to Cash book has this section called, my next book is called Think Your Way to Cash. That section is called The Currency of Confidence. Because sometimes people come up to me, my friends always come up to me, they're like, girl, if you could bottle up that confidence, you'd be rich. And I was like, it's interesting because when you own a business, what you are bottling up is your confidence. So yes, I am rich. And so are you. When I say that people buy certainty, they don't buy their certainty, they buy yours. Because before they get certain, you gotta be certain. Before I believe that I can do the thing that you're gonna teach me to do, you gotta believe that I can do the thing you're gonna teach me to do with your system. And so psychological warfare is something that not only countries use against each other, but it's also something that businesses use against each other. And then it's also something that we use against ourselves. And what I want to do in this session is I want to give language to some of the thoughts that you may be having in hopes that when you identify you using an adverse tactic against yourself, you can redirect your thoughts to a higher level of thinking. Is that okay? If y'all are cool with going higher, say higher. So the first strategy in psychological warfare is propaganda. Now, in your book, one of the things that you're gonna see on page, I believe it is 19, is I actually go through these. So if you're taking notes, you can just take notes, page 20, 21. Boom, help me out. This is a group project. So the definition of propaganda, it is information, especially biased or misleading, used to promote a particular viewpoint. Now, I didn't know if I was gonna say this, but I'm gonna say it because I feel bold. It's election season. Both sides utilize propaganda against each other. Now, even though it's an election, let's not be confused. It's really a business decision. Because if you think about who funds these campaigns, that's really who decides who wins. And so when you are in competition with an opponent, what you're going to do is put out information, particularly biased or misleading, used to promote a particular viewpoint. Now, here's what else I figured out, is that with propaganda, it wasn't just used in political arenas, business arenas. It's used against ourselves, of course, but it also can be used to promote your business. And in some instances, propaganda ain't all bad. Somebody say it ain't all bad. In fact, you should be biased for your business. But what we don't want to do is use it against ourselves in the negative. What does that look like? Girl, you ain't never made your business work. Ain't no way it's going to work right now. Biased against yourself. Girl, look at all the failed businesses you have. You think this going to work? Why would your husband invest in your business? Your last one didn't work. Let me tell you something. I can't tell you how many failed businesses I had before Speak Your Way to Cash. I know Chris can, because he invested in all of them. And he would come home from work. Where the married folks at? Y'all know how we be. I'd be at work. I would come home. I'd be like, babe, no, this is the one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change the way people interview. I was a career coach, Shaquille. Now, I didn't have none of your strategies. I wasn't on TikTok. I didn't think we had TikTok. I promoted that business using a competitor of Groupon as my distribution channel. I didn't even have an email list. I don't even think I had a Google Doc. Groupon wouldn't let me own because they were like, we don't know who you are. So I was like, I didn't give up. I was like, what are the competitors of Groupon? Some app, I don't even know the name of it anymore. They didn't make it. It wasn't my fault, but they didn't make it. But they put my business on there, and I got hundreds of clients. I was selling resumes for like $150, but the platform took 50%. So now I got hundreds of clients. They paid me half the work. I've got the money, but I got to deliver the work. Anybody been there? It feels like you working for free, even though they already paid you. So you be like, I don't want to do this work because that money gone. You know what I mean? Like, I got bills. Like, ma'am, I done spent your money already, okay? You talking about that resume, give me 2 weeks. She like, I paid 2 weeks ago. I was like, ma'am, look, it was $75. What you expect? I didn't know no better. So that business didn't work. But what I discovered through that business was that what I loved wasn't writing resumes. I loved career counseling because what I didn't know then was that I'm a coach. But at that time, I was like, okay, no, this is what you're going to do when you walk into the interview. Okay, this is how you're going to research them, and this is how you're going to do that. So why don't you just pay me for career counseling? They were like, no, I only want to pay for the resume. But the propaganda of it all would have been, Ashley, you'll never have a business that works because you've never had a business that works. It's biased and it's misleading information based on a part of a story. So you got to make sure you're not using it against yourselves. These two examples were really interesting. The first one, you dirty boy, why don't you wash yourself with Vinolia soap? Interestingly enough, this particular marketing wasn't marketing. It was marketing to African Americans to make them think that they were dirty, and if they believed that they were dirty, they would buy the soap. It wasn't marketing to people who didn't look like him. It was actually using a negative form of marketing. You are so dirty, you have to use this soap. Look at the next one. The worst thief is he who steals the playtime of children. Now, this one was actually trying to portray a particular businessman as someone who utilized child labor. Whether they did or not is up for debate. But the propaganda of it all is the biased viewpoint is you use child labor, you're bad. Now, if you look at marketing, now those are maybe some interesting negative forms of marketing, but if you look at marketing, one of the things that you need to understand is that all marketing has a message behind it. And if your marketing doesn't have a message behind it, then you need to figure out what exactly are you marketing. So before you just put out a message, how many of y'all are guilty of thinking about your marketing in terms of like, okay, I gotta make this post. Not I gotta change this mindset. You are marketing to shift beliefs. You are not marketing to check a box. This ain't high school. You ain't gonna get credit for that. And in business, you ain't getting no grade, you get paid. So the scorecard in business isn't intellectual only. You are judged off of what comes in. That tells you, money tells you that people want what you're selling. The lack of tells you that either they don't want it or they don't want what you're presenting. And if they don't want what you're presenting, then the thing that you change isn't what you're selling. The thing that you change is what you're presenting about what you're selling. Because if you change what you're selling, but you don't change how you present, then it ain't gonna work. Confirmation bias. Research on self-bias and self-perception suggests that individuals seek out information that confirms their existing beliefs about themselves, a phenomenon known as confirmation bias. There's people out there that have this perception, like maybe they were hurt. Y'all, people be talking about church hurt. I'd be like, yeah, okay, but what about the coach hurt? People be so hurt by coaches, they be like, I'm done. I'm like, you done with what? They're like, I'm done with coaches. I'm like, so you're done getting help in your business forever because somebody who didn't like you is the one who told you you can't make good decisions. So you gonna let somebody who don't care about you make all your decisions for the rest of your life. What do you mean? No, I'm making my own decisions. I'm not hiring coaches because my last coach did me wrong. I'm like, I don't even know that lady. She could literally not exist. I don't even know who you're talking about. So confirmation says that if I have had a negative experience in one arena, I pull that negative experience into every arena because I have to prove myself right. There's studies on this. You know what else that means? That means that if you ran Facebook ads and spent $5.55 and you did not get $1 million in leads, for the rest of your life, sis, you looking at Mark Zuckerberg like that man is a scammer. I spent my hard-earned coffee money and didn't get a lead because there's some of us. Can we be real? Say real. We can go a little deeper, say deeper. There's some of us in this room, don't look at nobody, that way they don't think you're talking about them. There's some of us in this room that have been so hurt by wrong decisions in the past that they've got to be right about the next decision, even if what they're saying they're right about is something that will hurt them for the rest of their lives. So they would rather be right about something that's wrong than discover they're wrong to get right. That's what the data says. That's confirmation bias. So I need you to forgive yourself for wrong investments, wrong discernment, trusting the wrong people so that you can move forward free. I realized something. I was praying one day. I was like, Lord, I never want to have to worry about money again. And you want to know what the Lord told me? I don't say that lightly because I'm not one of those people that's just going to be like, I'm not walking up to you in the bathroom stall saying Jesus told me that you're going to get a new pair of shoes unless that's really what he told me. And I've never even had him tell me anything like that. So I don't think that's going to happen. But anyways, I'm just not, you know them people, because I've been at the hospital visiting somebody and this man gave me a prophecy that I was going to get a lot of shoes. And I was just like, sir, I already got a lot of shoes. So what are you talking about? And that shoe bus he was talking about never came. So I was like, I don't know what that guy was talking about. But what the Lord placed on my heart was this. Ashley, you can stop worrying about money now because worry is a choice. It's not a revenue amount. He said, Ashley, don't you know that billionaires still worry about money? When their stock goes down, they still worry about how much money they'll lose. Don't you know people who ain't got resources still worry about how much money they don't got? It's literally not a dollar amount. Worry is a choice. I was like, it's a choice. He was like, so if you want to be financially free, then all you do is stop thinking about things the way you're thinking about them and live out life in freedom so you can make better decisions. This is why we have a session called Decision Matrix, because many of you have allowed your decisions to become prisons. So you're literally like this, like you have all these options, and instead of making any decision, you make no decision at all. So you sitting here going like this, your whole 5 years is like, I'm just walking in this box. You're like, girl, don't you want to start your business? Like, I know, but I don't know what to call it, and I don't know what the LLC is called, and I don't know if the trademark is filed, and I don't know who to hire, and then I don't know about Fiverr, and I already tried Upwork, and I don't know about Indeed, and so I'm just going to stay here and make the same decisions. And so literally, although there are no prison cells here, your thoughts become invisible prisons. And confirmation bias is so dangerous because whatever you believe to be true, you will look for proof of that without realizing that you could be wrong. The definition of open-mindedness is not that you accept everybody else's decisions. The definition of open-mindedness is that you will consider a decision other than your own and possibly choose a different decision. So we see propaganda literally, y'all, every single day. Check this out. What stories are you telling yourself that might be holding you back? Somebody get to the mic. What stories are you telling yourself that might be holding you back? If y'all are gonna support these sisters who are about to come to this mic and be vulnerable, make a round of applause. Make a round of applause. So here's the questions. Come on, sis, you look so cute. I'm so glad you're here. What stories are you telling yourself that might be holding you back? Are those stories based on facts, or are they narratives planted by others? Go ahead.
Hi, everyone. LaShondra Butler. I have a business in interior design, interior architecture.
Yes.
I'm currently working in residential, hoping to move to commercial projects. So some of the, I guess, biases I've been telling myself, or stories I've been telling myself, are around my first name, LaShondra, being an urban name, and in an industry that mostly accepts white or non-women of color, or women that are not women of color, and kind of the experiences that I get when I go to different showrooms or just different conferences where I feel like, okay, they may be prejudging me based on my name or where I may come from before even getting to know me. So I've kind of convinced myself that you just need to talk to me, you just need to meet me, versus seeing something online, write a resume, a name, I'm trying to find the words here, but in short, my name, right? So I've embedded that excuse, and that has therefore held me from introducing myself in rooms that are unfamiliar to me, or coming up to the mic and saying who I am. But yeah, just my name.
Okay. First off, clap it up for her for sharing that.
Thank you.
Now, has anyone ever told you that they will not work with you because of your name?
No. No,
Okay.
but they have asked if they could call me a nickname or shorten it, or...
And what did you say?
No.
You said no.
I said immediately.
Give it up for her for that. Now, here's the thing. What if you have the name you have so that people can remember you and you can stand out? So what if, instead of your name being Ashley, like my name, where they'd be like I always had to introduce myself as Ashley Nicole Kirkwood because there was always a lot of Ashleys. But give us your name in the mic real loud, proudly, full name.
LaShondra Virginia Butler.
Come on! So it's interesting. So there's something called the MBA framework, and here's what I want you to take away from this. Your M is for mindset. That makes up your thoughts. The B is for beliefs. Your thoughts cement into your beliefs, which you hold in your heart, but they show up in your feet. So what you believe, you do. Like you're literally standing right there because you believe this floor is gonna hold you up.
Yes.
No one would have gotten up if they really thought, like, this floor is not gonna hold me up. I can't get up right now, So that's why you're standing there. So I love that you recognized it, but now, here's what you gotta do. You ready?
Yeah.
Every time you introduce yourself, say your full name proudly. And if they mispronounce it, correct them for as many times as it takes.
Okay.
And then you could even give them some education. Do you know what your name means?
No, actually.
Look up what your name means.
Okay.
What you may discover is that your name is a blessing. What you will discover is that your name is a blessing. What you may discover is that the meaning of your name magnifies the blessing of your name. And so I don't want you having that belief anymore, but here's the difficult part. Are you willing to believe a new belief?
Yes.
Say, my name makes me stand out.
My name makes me stand out.
It makes me easy to look up.
It makes me easy to look up.
It makes me unforgettable in every
It
way.
makes me unforgettable in every way.
Give it up for her. And so, you still gonna have that feeling for a little while until you develop new habits that confirm and cement your new beliefs. So I want you to introduce yourself to 10 people before the end of the day.
Okay.
Deal?
Yes.
What 10 people she wanna meet? Who needs an interior? Anybody need an interior designer? Stand up. Just let me know. Anybody in the room? Okay, needs an interior designer. Eno needs an interior designer. They too. So, because it's sales here. So you saw the people who stood up?
Yes.
Introduce yourself to them first.
Okay.
Okay? And then you get your other 5. I love you, sis. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you so much.
Give it up for her. Okay. Lanitra, come to the mic. And can somebody get my flats up here, the cute little pink ones? Because we about to go to work.
Hey y'all, I'm Lenitra King. I'm an award-winning publicist with a 100% success rate at getting TV, radio, or print press in 90 days or less. And so some thoughts that I tell myself is that I always have to get it right. I can't fail. People are used to me getting it right, and I can never get it wrong. And I think a part of that comes from growing up. I didn't have my dad in my life, so I always had this sense of having to perform or having to achieve, and that's kind of trickled into other areas of my life.
Okay, give it up for her for sharing that. Anybody else ever dealt with that? Wave at her so she knows she's not alone. Say, you're not alone, sis.
Thank you.
Okay, so you've always had to get it right. And now, has anyone ever told you you have to be perfect for us?
No.
Okay. And what is the belief that you want to replace this belief with? Do you know?
It's okay to get it wrong sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, it's okay.
It's okay. And now here's the other thing, right? Because what we want to do is give you guys tools, right? Somebody say tools. What I have found, Lenitra, is when you get it wrong, when you are vulnerable about it and transparent about it, people will forgive you faster. Now, here's what I want to say to you. Lenitra worked as my publicist for several months. And we got some press, but it was some stuff that I wanted that we didn't exactly get. And what most people would do in that scenario is they would end the relationship and then that would be it, right? They were like, well, didn't work. Can I tell you what Lenitra did that no one has ever done in my entire life? What Lenitra did was she asked for feedback, and I was like, okay, I'll give you feedback, sis, because Lenitra's also in the mastermind. So I was like, of course I'll give you feedback, no big deal. I sent her a long voice note, because my schedule was back to back at this time, but I love giving my clients feedback, so I gave her this long voice note. And I was like, okay, well, that's pretty much it. She was like, no, I want to have a meeting, I want to get some feedback. And I was like, okay, and something about me, y'all, I don't like meetings. I'm really anti-meeting. I want to be, you know how the guys be like, I just want to retire and go play golf. I just want to be in my country club, play tennis, and eat lunch and write my books. You know what I mean? I don't like meetings like that. I love coaching, not so much meetings. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go to this meeting. Lenitra came to this meeting, y'all, and flipped the script. Somebody say plot twist. Plot twist. This is what my girl did. Came to the meeting, opened up the Zoom. She said, all right, I don't need any more feedback. I have press opportunities for you, and I would like to share all the press opportunities. I was like, okay, it gets better. Somebody say it gets better. She was like, first up, you have an interview with Essence next week. Second up, you'll be on Atlanta Today tomorrow. Do these times work for you? Next up, you'll be in this Atlanta Women's Business Journal. They have a full feature. These are all the questions they need. Give me the feedback. I will make sure that they get all the questions. Next up, you'll be in the Chicago Journal. Next up, we got your press release for making the Inc. 5000 list. Next up, we got another feature for this smaller outlet that we're going to handle. And then those other two outlets, we're going to go ahead and get that done. She said, I want to make sure you understand how much I value the relationship. And I want to make sure you understand that when you did that, I called my friend Audria, and she was literally about to cry. Oh, wow. Because when you are a 7- and 8-figure business owner, when you are anyone that anybody think got money, people take from you. They do not value your dollar. They do not try to make it right. So baby, no, you ain't gotta be perfect. But if you keep bouncing back the way I've seen you bounce back, shouldn't nobody have a problem with it? Because Lenitra, you could have gave up. You could have been like, I messed up. You could have been like, this is over. You could have been like, I'm not good at this. You could have done anything but what you did, which was honor your commitment. And so I want to tell you that you holding up a standard of perfection is the very thing that is stopping your clients from seeing the real you. And how many of y'all are not perfect? How many of y'all would love to watch a video where somebody's like, look, I sold some stuff and I messed up, but here's how I bounced back. Your failures aren't your floor. They're literally like your wings. That's what gives you the ability to fly over your competition. So you don't have to be perfect. And I'll tell you this, because I know you believe in God. One of the things that happened as I have gotten closer to God and been led by the Holy Spirit is that He's shown me that I can be vulnerable with people, and even if they disrespect the vulnerability, He'll honor it. Yeah. So now I don't need people to be, oh, we applaud you or whatever, because as long as God is okay with me being uniquely me, it's all right. And there's actually a scripture in Proverbs that talks about how when you're scared and when you need to be perfect because you think like if I hear from God wrong, I'm gonna make a big mistake, God covers that if your heart is right. And I also learned that, when people be like, I'm gonna pray in Jesus' name, but then some people can actually do stuff with that and other people can't. It's because in Jesus' name doesn't mean like just using the name of Jesus. It means be like Jesus.
Yes.
Like when he didn't really want to go on the cross and he was like, please, can you take this cup from me? Like, because this is a lot. Yes. So you can go to God with that. And as long as you trust that he's got you, it doesn't really matter if people don't.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they won't.
That. Thank you for that. And that's confirmation because I read a scripture this morning about your heart being pure. And God has given me confirmation and appreciating that. So thank you. And by the way, your Atlanta Magazine feature just went live today.
Yes! Let's go! Come on! Thank you. Thank you for the work you do. Thank you for being an amazing client, too. Really much respect. Okay. All right. Y'all still all right? Yeah. All right. Is this okay? Yeah. Okay. Is somebody else getting their freedom and all this? You like hearing some stuff? Okay. Yes, Laura. I'm so glad to see you.
Yes. Hey. My name is Laura Chapman, Nansen on Facebook. And I am the owner of Legendary Focus, where I help creatives be able to get out of their head and onto camera in front of their audience, as well as focus on manifesting more of what you want and less of what you don't. So my hold up in my life, I realize, is that I'm very family oriented. I love it. I love my family, and I am terrified of them thinking
Somebody stand with our sister.
that I care more about my business than I care about them, because I am doing this for them. My dad is about to have surgery, and I'm here. I saw him last night. I drove back from the hospital and got here like literally right as the thing was starting, and they told me to come, but part of me fears that part of them might feel like I'm being selfish because I'm always putting so much time and effort into my business and into my personal development and growing, and I know that it does not always show in the ways that a normal 9-to-5 shows. I'm the only one in my family who's never had a 9-to-5, and so I've had roller coasters, as we all know, with this journey, but because I've had to spend more time in the lab,
right?
Not showcasing everything that I'm doing. I don't want them to think that I'm just playing entrepreneur.
Now let me ask you this, because you said you don't want them to think it, but it sounds like they told you to be here, right?
They did.
So the problem isn't what they think, it's what you think. And so a lot of times, and this is the psychological warfare, right? Is that we will tell ourselves biased or misleading information despite the facts. That your family wants you to be here. And let me tell you something else. Let's say you were doing your business for you and not for them. That would be okay too. That's not selfish. No, I know. But I'm saying that's not selfish, because here's the thing. I love when I get to see my mom happy. I love seeing her in her element, in her zone. I love seeing my dad speak in front of people because that's what they love. And the worst thing I could do is be a woman devoid of love trying to be with my family when that's not where I should be in that particular season. Life has seasons. And if they're supporting you, there's something in you that's saying, they're supporting me, but maybe I don't deserve it. So instead of going full force with the support that they're giving me, I'm self-sabotaging by saying that maybe they secretly don't, but they do. There's not a single good parent that wouldn't want their children doing what they love.
Yeah.
So what thought process, what belief are you willing to commit to now?
That they mean what they say.
That they mean what they say. And if they need more for you, they're adults, right?
Yep.
And they can say that, right?
Yes.
And then you choose what you can do and what you can't do.
You're absolutely right.
Because all of us has an individual vision. Like, I don't know what Dr. Maya's vision is for her life, but for what she tells me. The danger in human-to-human relationships is me holding her to secret thoughts she never told me she has. That also ruins women friendships. Because she looked at me a certain way. She ain't say, she was just looking because the shoes was cute. And now you like, she don't like me.
That's real.
And because she don't like me, I can't talk to her. And she happens to be the CEO of a company that can give you $1 million contract, but she don't like you. That's the trick. And I'm not saying I'm not guilty of it. I have totally been wrong about people and been like, Chris, I don't think she really likes me that much. And then, husbands, okay, so just don't talk to her then. I mean, what is the problem? You know what I mean? And so I get it, but we cannot assume that other adults aren't saying what they really mean. That is a burden that you will never be able to bear.
And I realize I have to not hold other people to patterns that they've had in the past as well, because everyone can grow.
Everyone can grow. Everyone can grow. Give it up for Laura. And Laura, I know you asked us to pray for your dad, so I want to make sure that we do that right now really quickly. Lord, Father God, protect Laura's father, God. We pray that every surgeon that touches him is uniquely designed and assigned to do it, God. We pray that whatever he has to go through and goes under, he comes out of it better than ever, God. We pray no remnants of any disease, sickness, illness, breakage, or anything else would come to him, God. God, you say that when 2 or more are gathered in your name, then you are there in the mix, God. And so we are standing in the gap on behalf of her sister, God. We pray that she gets good news before the end of the day. We pray that she'll have a lightness about her because she knows her daddy is fine. God, you yourself understand the importance and the power in fatherhood. And so, God, we pray right now for this man who has been a good father, who is invested in his daughter with his words, his resources, and his vision that he has installed in her. And so we pray that you would allow him to live a long, prosperous, healthy, happy, fulfilled life, and that he will see his baby girl reach her dreams and celebrate her with all strength and authority. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. Amen, Laura. We are praying for you, girl. We love you. All right. Now, we going to do some more of these. We got to keep going, but if y'all want to stay at the mic, y'all can, because we're going to come back to the mic in just a minute, okay? What do you believe? Another one that we deal with is disinformation. It's deliberately false information, spread with the intent to mislead. Now, we've seen this on Facebook. You know how when they be saying somebody passed away that didn't? It's just deliberately false. But why do they do that? Because they want to get more engagement, more likes. It's just deliberately false. How many of you have been lied on? Lied on, cheated, talked about, mistreated. I was like, yes, Lord, that's my jam. Maybe we can get a trill remix of that. I don't know. But literally, it's deliberately false information, whereas propaganda is biased. This is just straight up nasty work. This is nasty work. This is when you know you lying and you lying anyways. And people do this all the time. And there's some of you who may have heard lies growing up that you're still holding on to. What's the lie? You gonna be just like your daddy, unless that means your daddy is great. You remind me of your mama when they don't have a good view of her. Girl, you too young to be doing all that. You need to stay in a child's place. How about this one? Be humble. Not with the intent of the true intention of the word, but with the intention to shut you up from telling your story. You think you're what? Deliberately false. I don't think it, I am it, and it's cool because you can be too. Hello? Can we be real? And so it's deliberately false information. You all know Mary Ellen Pleasant, we talked about earlier. They printed her in the papers as a voodoo queen. It was totally untrue, but they did that because they said there was no way a black woman could have all that money and resources without being engaged or involved in witchcraft. Here's how this shows up today. When a sister is doing really, really good in business, they gotta find something wrong with her. Oh, I knew she wasn't perfect. Oh, you in the Illuminati. You know what's interesting? I met Bishop T.D. Jakes. It was such a blessing. We had a conversation and everything, and he read my bio. and was like, I want to meet her. And so the church security came out and get me. They got serious security. Secret Service ain't got nothing on these guys. So they came and got me. They were like, the bishop wants to meet you. I'm like, okay, let's go. So we go meet Bishop Jakes. We sit down. We talk. He's like, do you mind if we talk a little business on Sunday? I'm like, Bishop, do you not know me? So we talked a little business on a Sunday. And when we were leaving, he looked at me and he said, you know the reason why you're fought so hard to help black people? I said, why? He said, because they don't think success looks like us. He said, they always think that I'm in the naughty or the Illuminati. He didn't even know how to say it. He was like, the naughty, the nothing. I was like, the Illuminati? He was like, yeah, that one. And it reminded me that one of the ways that they keep other black people from ascending heights is by demonizing those that have. And so look, they called her a voodoo wittress and they called her Mammy Pleasant. Now, one thing that Mary Ellen Pleasant says is that she was actually never a slave. She was born free. There's some debate about that, but that's what she said, so I'm going with what she said, right? And so she said she never did voodoo or any of that stuff, and she hated when people called her Mammy Pleasant, because it was derogatory in nature. And there are some words that people have called you guys that are derogatory in nature, but you're still living out that derogatory name because of disinformation. Maybe they said you weren't smart enough. Maybe they said something else. Maybe they said you gotta work harder. You need another degree. Whatever it is, it's derogatory. So for this next one, I want you all to tell me, in what ways have you encountered deliberate falsehoods that you need to release? This is a challenging one, so if y'all need to switch up in line and think about it, let me know. You know?
Oh, I can talk.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Dr. Alexa Martin. I have a practice called Intuitive MD where I practice whole body medicine, mind, body, and soul. And so this is something I think you've helped me with disinformation. So I think one of my fears that I've been working through, I'm not going to say I still have it because words have power.
Yeah.
Was this idea of showing up as my full self, as a medical expert, saying that I'm a board-certified physician, which I do now say I am a board-certified physician.
Yes!
And so I was on a panel last week where it was about toxic food, and I was terrified, not because I didn't know what I was talking about, but I was worried that I was going to dispel some disinformation, and that what does that mean when you're showing up? Because I feel like everybody else shows up on social media and other saying whatever they want to say, you know, selling their supplements, saying this, and then I feel like some of us doctors are afraid to open our mouth because we don't want to get it wrong.
Yeah.
And so this is something that I'm coming more fully into, along with the idea of being accepted as my full self, as a healer, as a physician, as a human alchemist, somebody who wants to change people from ordinary to extraordinary. And being comfortable with that, because just like what you put up there, anytime you're doing something that's not super conventional, all of a sudden you're doing woo-woo stuff. And that is not who I am. I only report to source. God tells me what to do. My hands are being used. That is all I'm doing. And so, but when you're afraid to kind of show up, that's what I've been afraid to show up, that will my community accept me? Will people who of faith accept the way that I practice?
Who told you they won't?
So it's not that people have said that they wouldn't. I did have, you know, the occasion where somebody was like, well, I'm not really sure about that energy work. And I didn't push back. I said, no problem, let me eat.
Okay. Were you sure that that energy work could help them?
Yes, and they did let me do it, and now they know that it's not anything but healing.
But you need to explain that. Because let me tell you, I was at Woman Evolve last week. It's like the perfect, like the people coming to the mic, y'all are just bomb, okay? Shout out to y'all. Because I was at Woman Evolve last week, okay, because my company bought a suite. Because I used to work at companies that would buy like baseball stadiums, and I was just like, boring. So we bought a suite at Woman Evolve, so much better. And my girlfriend walks in, Kenyatta. She walked in looking all good, child, looking good. And I was like, okay, what's going on? She said, girl, you know that doctor I met at the Chicago stop of the tour? I said, yeah. She just bought a ticket to the event. She said, girl, my husband's down 20 pounds. That little energy healing stuff, girl, it's all good. All she gonna do is do. And she was like, he done lost 20 pounds. I'm down. We look good. She said, my man ain't never been better. I bought him a car. I said, what? I said, did you tell her this? She said, yeah. I said, girl, let me get her number, okay? Because I clearly need to call her. But it took her explaining to me that it wasn't woo, 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 whatever. Because what we not gonna do as as consumers, especially Christian consumers, you know we got a little more work to do with us. You know how it is. But what you're not gonna do is I get involved in something and I don't know what's going down. I walk in and now all of a sudden you want me to touch the crystals and chant to the thing. And I'm like, I don't know what you want me to do. Now, energy is such a big spectrum. Spiritualism is such a big spectrum that you have to be comfortable declaring what you believe if it's going to be a part of what you do. So you are going to have to educate the consumer because we are ignorant as it relates to that world. But when my girlfriend didn't leave with no energy healing, none of that, she said, man down 20 pounds, and you should do it too. I said, man down 20 pounds, I should do it too. I was like, that's what Dr. Alexis needs to be saying. Do you and your man want to have a little more fun? You want to go for walks in the park? You want him looking twice? I'm like, yes. Okay? So I say that to say, for everyone in the room, how many of y'all have a hard time explaining what you do? I want you to be the first hot seat for messaging metamorphosis tonight. And we're going to break down how to explain your energy work in a way that is truthful and also persuasive so that you can go on and help the people you need to help. Because what can't happen is people that need your help leave because we didn't communicate what we do. One of the things about this visual that I'll tell you, because I think it makes a lot of sense for where you're at, when this first came out about Mary Ellen Pleasant, she didn't immediately dispel the myth. Because she thought it was so ludicrous that people would believe it, like why even address it? But what ended up happening is she lost millions of dollars because of this disinformation. Because people weren't willing to partner with her. She lost so much money, she had to go back and be a house manager. Now, because she a boss, she rebuilt her wealth, used her money from her day job. Listen to this. I said a millionaire went back and got a day job, then built millions again, reinvesting the money from her day job. So if you got to get a day job, you just like all the millionaires I've been studied, right? And so, but she should have dispelled this myth. And she didn't because she thought it was so ludicrous. So for you, you're like, I know the energy work. It's nothing weird about energy work. It's just da-da-da-da. But it is something weird about energy work to those that you are going to work with. And you have to dispel the misinformation that's out there and the disinformation that's out there as it relates to your field. Otherwise, they just go with the disinformation, or they just go with whatever they see on the internet or TikTok.
True.
I hear the aunties are on Facebook. I'm on Facebook. So whatever they believe. But I wanted to give you your flowers because you did your thing with my girl and she was real happy. And so give it up for Dr. Alexis. So let's do that hot seat tonight. You'll be here? Okay, awesome. We're going to do that. All right, now, we're going to keep going. Deception involves using trickery or deceit to mislead someone, often creating a false perception of reality. Deception. False perception of reality. That means there is a reality, but they just go make a different one up. And they use trickery or deceit. Now, I want to address this because there's a lot of you in this room who really could go harder in your business, but you're scared to go harder because you're scared of being accused of using trickery or deceit. Raise your hands, anybody. So you're governed by a moral code, and so you believe marketing is immoral. Can we be real? So you want to say a certain thing, but maybe, how many doctors we got in the room? The doctors really do, oh my goodness. Shout out to y'all. Look at all these doctors, let's go. And so you're like, I don't want to be wrong. I don't know. I don't know if I can say that. I don't know, what do the ethical rules say? Let me help all my licensed professionals out. Hire an ethics lawyer, mark it till your heart desires, have them review it if you're really worried about it. But deception is trickery or deceit. Now, the thing about trickery and deceit is it deals with intent. Where my lawyers at? So you know there's a mens rea for any criminal thing that you get accused of. Mens rea means you got to have the right mental state in order to be convicted of a particular crime. So what Lenitra said earlier is so good. If your heart is in the right place, go with that. It's not trickery if you don't have the intent to trick or deceive someone. It may be something else. And as you get wiser and smarter and more learned in a particular area, you may choose to evolve your marketing. But what I believe is happening is that there are people literally sitting here today, I ain't gonna look at nobody, who are not marketing hardcore because they think it's deceptive. But what's really deceptive is the fact that you went to school for 4 years, paid somebody over $200,000, then went back, doubled down, got an advanced degree where you paid another $200,000. So you about $300,000, $400,000, some even $500,000 in because they had some good marketing and some fake U.S. News World Report ratings, and now you won't market your business because you want to make sure you don't trick nobody. But unless you a clown, you ain't got tricks. You are serving an audience that you're called to serve. And so we aren't the tricksters. And what's interesting is your college gets it wrong all the time and they don't care. You still got to pay tuition. Your college ain't got no guarantees. And you still have to pay you still have to pay tuition. So sis, tell me, what are your beliefs or what false perceptions of reality have you believed into that you want to get rid of?
It's that I can't place where I need to be and where to go to do the thing that I am called to do, which is to empower and equip emerging leaders who are within organizations that are being told that they need more training, more coaching, need to learn more to level up. And then there is no infrastructure within the organization to help them do that. And so that is what was told to me. That's what I experienced. And so I want to be that for the next woman because I knew that I was better than my director, but they kept telling me, you need more coaching, you need more mentorship, but they were not providing it and could not direct me to it and tell me, well, find the thing. Well, damn it, I know it.
So the reality is, you know it. But the false reality is you need more before you can have it.
Correct.
How many of us been there? Like, Bob, I already know this stuff. I'm just let you keep talking, bro. Okay? So that's the false perception of reality. So what reality are you walking into now?
That I am the boss and I am an expert and I do know how to coach women to the next level.
Absolutely. Let's give it up for her. I love that. I love that. And let me tell you this. I know how you said, like, they told me or they said I need more coaching. How many people was that?
At least 4.
Okay. Now, there are over like 7 billion people on this planet. Many of us are making decisions with small data sets. And we have to stop doing that because it's like, I saw someone told me this or I had a bad coach. It's like, okay, well, there are like millions of coaches. You had a bad one. That's less than 0.01%. Find your people. So I want to tell you, because here's the thing, y'all. You're going to leave here and you're going to face resistance. And I hope that I am the coach that can walk you through that resistance because I'm going to tell you the truth. Dr. Judy knows. Dr. Judy be saying stuff. She like, I'm going to just stand on the other side of Ashley because I don't want her getting in my business. I just think her discernment may just get a little bit weaker if I just go way over here and say what I'm about to say. But let me tell you something. I hope that I can walk with you through this, but even if I cannot, I want you to understand that you have a whole world out there that you can help. Do not let less than 0.01100000000% of the world determine how big of a piece of the pie you get. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay, give it up for our sister. All right, now this is a big one, fear-mongering. Fear-mongering is the act of spreading fear to influence people's behavior and decisions. This is what it looks like. Recession, economic crisis, all of that, keeping you held back. There are some people who will literally not grow their business, not invest in their business due to fear. But what I've learned is if I make decisions based on fear, I get scary results. Can I say that again? Please. If we make decisions based on fear, we get scary results. Y'all want big, bold, beautiful, audacious, front of the magazine cover results. Fear doesn't lead you to those types of results. I have had to learn how to reinterpret fear in my body when I feel like I have two options before me and one of them really scares me but the other one feels safe. I have learned to tell myself that the one that scares me is the one I gotta do because something can only scare me once. You only get one time to look like a boogeyman because once I was scared of having a payroll, then I got a W-2 employee. And every month I found out how to pay her. First I was scared I wouldn't make payroll. Then I made it for a year. Then I made it for 2 years. Then I had 5 people on payroll. Then I had 10 people on payroll. Now we got 17 people on payroll. And I was like, okay. And every single month I make payroll. So the thing that scared me on that side is the thing that made me have an event like this on this side because you don't do this alone. It only can scare you once. It only can scare you once. And it's interesting to me, because I got student loans, y'all. Real safe space. I don't like them joints. I don't like them and the IRS. They literally came together and just decided we just gonna team up on her. You know what I mean? And so I was not scared to sign a document that mandated I pay the federal government back multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars. But the first time I got a coach and it was like, I think it was $25,000 or $30,000, I was terrified. But literally, I didn't even read any of the fine. Did y'all read the fine print on college? Because I didn't read a thing. And now I'm a lawyer. I wasn't a lawyer then, thank God. I know my clients are like, Jesus, I hope she read my stuff. I did. Different time, different space. It was a season. But I didn't read the fine print on that. But the coach was like, yeah, give me $30,000 and I'll show you how to do blah, 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 blah. And it was all stuff I needed, but I was just like, $30,000? What they gonna do with that? Why you need all 30 up front? What's the payment plan like? You got a 5-year option. They like, the program is a year. I was like, but the payments could be 5. I was so scared. I called my husband crying. I was like, I need to join this program, Chris. It's going to change my life. I'm telling you. He was like, first off, all I heard through all them tears was $30,000. And I'm just trying to figure out, are you being kidnapped, hung up? What is it ransom? What is happening here? Because he like, yeah, my wife crying, but she asking for a whole lot of money at the same time. I got to figure out what's going on. I was so scared, but that's because society has told us that school is safe and investments are risky. In reality, made that investment, and I got kind of an addiction for investing because I was like, man, okay, I made that investment. It worked out great, made a couple $100,000, then I made another investment, worked out great, met some good people, didn't love the program, but whatever, it doesn't matter because I met some great people. I took the people, then I made another investment, and I realized that if I invest with the right intention, it blesses my life. It didn't even matter who the coach was at that point. I was like, look, all right, cool. You talking about you're going to do all this stuff. Will you do this one thing for me? They would say yes. I'd be like, bet, here's the card. Because I realized that I was sowing a seed into my business. My business is good ground, so I'm good. But the fear-mongering of it all made me think that investing in my business was selfish and unsafe, but investing in my education was safe. And I had to figure out why, and I found out something. Can I say it? Sisters, we get degrees for other people. We do business for us. So degrees for other people, that's a safe investment. But investing in our business feels unsafe because we do that for us. Can I be real? Let me make it personal. I don't know what y'all do. I got degrees for other people. I love the feeling my parents had saying I went to Northwestern. It made me feel good. But really, I knew I was never going to be a trial lawyer forever. In my heart, I always wanted to be a speaker and speak to women and coach and have this really fun, exciting life. I used to literally pray prayers like, God, please make my life more exciting than this. I am so bored. I was like, I don't even know if this is how you're supposed to pray, but Jesus, can you make it so that like I get everything you've imagined for me, and then you go back and imagine some more stuff with your friends and give me some more stuff. I just want to live an exciting life. I hate going to this office, sitting here, listening to these people talk about stuff that just don't matter to me. Like, I'm just bored. Anybody ever been bored at work? I was like, this is so boring. I don't want to go to these suites and talk about baseball. Jesus, Bob, I don't watch the sport. Like, I'm bored. But the fear was, I can't never leave this job. Entrepreneurs always struggle. I said I would never be an entrepreneur. I said that. Everything you read about me and seen about me to this point, I said I would never do it because I was afraid of struggling. It represented struggle to me. So I said I would never do it. It represented risk. And that was the fear. So I think, where are we at here? Okay. Fear-mongering. What is the fear that you've given into in your life that you are no longer giving into?
So, well, hi family. First
Hey, give us your name and business, girl.
My name is Tori J. I'm a holistic wellness consultant and coach.
Love it.
So I help people to heal mentally, physically, and spiritually and transmute that energy into their purpose.
I love it.
So for me, emphasis on the holistic wellness consultant, because that part is going to be important.
Okay.
The top of this year, me and my kids lost everything. Okay, we lost our home. We had to run out the house. My babies are 4 and 6. We had to run out the house. We had a house fire. The next day, I started bleeding, hemorrhaging, and I have been bleeding since January, since the fire. I've poured out so much blood. I've been in the ER several times. I've had several blood transfusions at this point. I've even had a surgery because the doctors thought it was a polyp causing my bleeding. Whole time I'm a holistic wellness consultant, but now I'm afraid. And I've gone to the doctor because I'm like, why am I bleeding nonstop? What's going on? And everything that they've tried and all the tests that they've ran, and they're actually real lackadaisical about it. And the last scan that I had, they actually haven't called me back, and this has been 2 months ago now, to tell me what it is that's going on. And the only reason that I made it to the ER every time I went to get blood transfusions was because I know how to call in my own blood work, and I know how to analyze blood work. So because I called in my own blood work, I'm like, oh, my levels are at a 5. I'm going to faint in a second. So I said all that to say, a couple of months ago, I studied the body. I studied biochemistry. I did not go to school. I did not become an official doctor, but I love to learn about the body and healing. And the God did not make us imperfect. Our body was designed to heal itself. And through this process, God said, no, that's not going to work for you because you have to do it. You have to go through this process to learn how to heal your wound. And so I went and I did my practices. I went raw. I took certain herbs, still taking those herbs. My body, I stopped bleeding.
Come on.
I went back to eating the way I normally eat, and then the bleeding came back, and I thought it was my period. I was like, okay, it's my period. It's a normal period now. But it wasn't. The bleeding didn't stop again, and I got scared again. Went back to the doctors because they're not telling me this is something I can heal from. They're saying you're going to probably have to be on hormones for a while or birth control forever or something. This is just something that happens to black women. Y'all got womb issues. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. So I told myself, well, this is the only thing that worked for me before. Let me do it again. So I did it again, and my body healed. My body stopped bleeding. I had my first normal period last month, and I've officially just put all my business out there. I got my second period, and my body is doing what it's supposed to be doing.
Praise God. Yes. Oh, thank you so much for sharing.
So the fear that was put into me that this is something that I'm just going to have to deal with, and I don't know if you all heard, it was a young lady named Jessica Petway. She was having the same symptoms as me, just bleeding nonstop since last year. She died, and she had 2 babies, and it was her story that made me go, okay, girl, did you forget what you do? Did you forget who you are? It doesn't matter what they say. You know what the body has the ability to do, and God is taking you through this so you can learn firsthand how to help somebody else on this journey. So, always. Thank you.
thank you. Thank you for being a living miracle. So, man, was this not incredible? Let me tell you something. There are specific circumstances that God will have us go through because we are sometimes our own exhibit A. And when people don't believe a thing or they don't know what they believe, the only way to shift their belief is with evidence. And although we can use data and stats and words because of the psychological warfare tactics that we've talked about, all of that can be manipulated. The reason why there's a hall of fame with all those women out there is because you could tell me you don't believe in God, you don't believe in Jesus, that was way, 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 way back. You ain't gonna argue with history. And it's really difficult for someone to say that you aren't who you say you are when you are the living proof. And so now I think it's time for you to not only tell your story, but show your story. So show people like this was a selfie of me before I went to that hospital room and I didn't know what was going on. I was scared to tell you guys this because I thought you would say, how can a healer get sick? But I'm telling you this because not only can a healer get sick, but a healer can help heal themselves. And so one of the things that you're gonna be able to do that other people won't be able to do in your field is be the proof. One of the reasons people are so skeptical to buy, can I just tell y'all the truth? Is because there's a lot of frauds. There's a lot of counterfeits. And if you've ever gotten a fake bag from somebody that really knew what they was doing, you know that sometimes the counterfeit can look real. And the only people that can tell a counterfeit versus the real thing is the people that study the real thing real good. But when you are the real thing, when you were born the real thing, now communicate that to your audience. You should never struggle financially again.
I claim it, Lord.
With that story. You tell that story, you show women that story, you start taking pictures of what you're eating, you will never struggle financially again. Who's heard of Tabitha Brown? She wanted to be an actress. That lady was driving Uber and stuff. She said she heard God tell her to start recording what you're eating. She wasn't no vegan health guru. She just went to the Whole Foods while she was on break from driving Uber and showed them a vegan option that she was trying, and now she's Tabitha Brown. Her image popped in my head while you were talking because you have a very similar path. You don't even know where you could be this time next year, girl.
Tell me, where I'm gonna be? Where I'm gonna be?
Girl, it's good.
I see it.
You start telling your story every single day. You find a way to tell, show and tell, show and tell. Don't just tell without showing. Find a picture, even if it's like a newspaper article from that day that you got that first thing, and you post that picture and you tell your story. If one person likes it, you tell it again the next day. If nobody likes it, you keep telling your story, because one of the things about deception, deceit, and fear-mongering and psychological warfare is if we don't get immediate applause, we think that it's not working. How many of you know that things can be working even when they don't look like they're working? There was times I was in the hospital thinking that I was gonna lose my mind, and literally that was working. It didn't feel like it was working. It didn't look like it was working. I was embarrassed. I was ashamed. I was on my own. I actually, similar to you, like, I'm a lawyer, so I use my mind to make money. I've had mental breakdowns. I was like, God, how can I have a mental breakdown when I'm literally a lawyer who uses their mind to make money? I'm a coach. I use my mind to make money. How could you attack the very thing that you gave me to give them to help them? And he was like, because they don't need to see you win all the time. They need to see you bounce back. They need to see that, yeah, it happened, but you didn't care that it happened. You kept going. They need to see that you doubted yourself, but you didn't give up. They need to see the healing journey. Girl, it's gonna be good. I can't tell you too much. I'm gonna tell you what I got. I don't know everything, but I know it's gonna be good. You start telling that story every day. Every day, you gonna do it?
I will.
Every day you tell that story. You show it and you tell it.
I will.
You tell, if you have healed from it enough to tell it, you tell it. As specific and detailed as you feel led to tell it, you tell it. How many of you know you got a story you ain't never told? Stories are healing. Y'all are living proof. Thank you, sis. So good. Okay. So good. This is a good one. Media manipulation. We could call this social media manipulation, child. Media manipulation. How many of you have watched something on Instagram or seen something and you're like, oh man, if she's already doing that, then I can't do it? Anybody? Raise your hand. Be honest. I've totally been there. I'm gonna tell y'all something, because I told y'all I went to Women Evolve last week and it was like all these women in the room, maybe 20,000. And I was making a post and I was like, this is our largest event. We have 350 women registered. It's like a big event. And something in my hearing was like, well, it's not that big. It's not 20,000 women. But I posted it was a big event anyways, because I was like, I know that's manipulation. Because I don't see things to tease me. My favorite affirmation, God don't tease me. Y'all do realize everybody ain't exposed to what you exposed to. That's divine. So if you're exposed to a woman who made $800 her first year and had a multi-million-dollar year last year, then it's for you to see this. But what happens is there's so many other things in our eyesight that we see things that ain't really for us to see. So some of the things that we see are divinely seen. Other things that we see are because we chose to see it because we are addicted to things we shouldn't be addicted to, like social media. Because I have had people stand before me and say, Ashley, I can't pitch for an hour a day, but if I look at their phone, they can spend 4 hours a day on Instagram. There's people that can't, like I remember when I first started praying for real, I'd be praying for 5 minutes. I'd be like, Lord, I'm tired now. What else I'm supposed to say? But I watch 24 with Jack Bauer. I will watch 5 episodes up at 2 a.m. like I ain't got work in the morning, like Jack is about to save it again. He gonna do it. Like, babe, Chris like, babe, we gotta go to sleep. I'm like, babe, one more episode. They just found the virus. So it's like media manipulation will do that. Why is it that some things we can watch for hours that won't add any intellectual value to our lives or to our wealth, but stillness, because that's really what prayer is, just stillness, meditation. Stillness, I'm like, okay, how many minutes I gotta be still? My vocal coach was like, yo, Ashley, you need to go on vocal rest for the next 3 days. I said, 3 days? And not say nothing? How am I gonna do that? And Chris, I was like, Chris, I know you're gonna be so sad. I'm not supposed to talk for the next 3 days. I know this is tearing you up. Because of course I wanted to give him a minute-by-minute play of Woman Evolve. Every tear cried, I wanted to reenact and explain. And he was like, oh, you can't talk for 3 days? That's cool. I'm like, no, Chris, we have important details to discuss about the sermon. He was like, was it good? I was like, it's the best sermon of my life. He was like, what? I was like, but you'll have to wait 3 days. Hooked him in. But media manipulation will do this. So here's what it is. Controlling or influencing the flow of information to shape public perception or behavior. This one is one you can use to your advantage. Say my advantage. My advantage. Because guess what? On your social media accounts, you get to influence the flow of information. How are you using it? How are you using it? When your kids grow up, like Christelle tells me that she already knows everything. She's 4. Chris asks, Christelle, you coming to the event? She said, I don't know if I'll have time. I got school, grandma's here, it's a lot going on. I was like, what? And I'm like, Christelle, how did you learn that? She was like, oh, I taught myself. I'm like, how you teach yourself? She's like, Mom, maybe Dad helped a little. But as she is growing up, we are grooming her and we're teaching her things about herself that she doesn't ordinarily know. All manipulation isn't bad. Can I say that? Is that okay to say? Oh my gosh, that's controversial. Tweet me. All manipulation isn't bad. My parents manipulated me into believing I was gonna be a lawyer or a doctor. When I was very little, they were like, you're gonna be a doctor, you're gonna be a doctor. So I was like 3, I was like, what are you gonna be? I'm gonna be a cardiologist. I didn't even know what that meant. Then I went to high school, I had to take science. I was like, I gotta do this? Oh, I'm not doing this. I was like, what's the other option? My dad was like, you're gonna be a lawyer. I said, I'll be a lawyer. What you gotta do? Talk, that's my thing. You know what I mean? Talk and read. Those are my things. I love studying. I love reading. I love talking. I was like, yep, lawyer is for me. And they would say these things, and every time something would happen, like I would have a debate and I would lose because I was very used to winning. If I lost, I'd be so mad. And my dad was like, you got to learn how to lose. He was like, even when you lose, you win because you learn. But I wouldn't have had that thought process otherwise. Your clients are thinking things about your area of expertise they shouldn't be thinking. But ain't nobody molding their thoughts otherwise. So you have to be the one that molds their thoughts otherwise, that shows them things that they don't know about themselves. Now, influencing the flow of information can also be used negatively to shape public perception or behavior. Whether or not it's negative, in my opinion, determines on what behavior you're trying to shape. Now, as heart-centered entrepreneurs, one of the things that I'm always checking for is this only self-serving? Is this only self-serving? That is my guiding light. So if I'm doing something and the only person it helps is me, it's probably wrong. Because even when you invest in your business and you show up for you and it means you're going to take time away from your family, you're investing in being the best version of you. So you go back to your family and you're fulfilled. You're not blaming your kids for not following your dreams. You're not yelling and cussing at them for no reason because you're actually happy and fulfilled. So media manipulation is controlling or influencing the flow of information to shape public perception. So my question is, what have you seen on social media that has held you back from growing the way you want to grow?
My name is Asia Kirkendall, I developed the Quantum Wealth Theory, which is a money mindset curriculum to help high school and college students to develop the mindset using quantum physics, behavioral psychology, and neuroscience to develop the behaviors.
Let's go. Give it up for that intro.
So I came up here on the first question, which was, what are the obstacles or narratives that are holding you back?
Yeah.
And I've had this theme that I've drawn through, all the different psychological warfare tactics.
Yeah.
And so it comes here to media manipulation because that theme is that I don't have enough time to develop my business while I'm back working a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
I started in corporate in 2011. I worked up until 2019, quit my job, and went full-time entrepreneur for 4 years. I did real estate to sustain myself while I was developing this on the side. So come 2024, market shifted, my desires shifted, and so I decided going back to get a corporate job was best for me. So the media manipulation for me, I feel like I've seen the light at the end of the tunnel, and I've worked through it enough to know that I do have the time to do all the things that I need, especially because I work remote. And so for me, it's like the idea that you either are an entrepreneur or you work W-2. Like I don't see a lot of, you could be both, or it doesn't have to be one or the other, or one's better. And so just time and having ownership and autonomy and knowing that I do have, the same 24 hours as Beyonce or however they say it, and knowing that I have everything I need.
I love that. Clap it up, clap it up. So one of the most powerful portrayals of time, can I have my cell phone? Okay, who got a calculator? All right, I'm gonna need y'all help. So one of the most powerful portrayals of time was this. Someone said, if we can get my vibe board on the screen, that'd be great. Shout out to the AV team.
Yeah.
One of the things that they said was you have, after you turn 18, right? Okay. How many hours are in a year? Y'all know how we gonna do this? Let me show y'all something real live. I'm about to go to ChatGPT because that man be fast. How many hours are in a year? Come on, mathematicians. How many? 8,760 hours are in 1 year. How long does the average woman live in America? 75?
80.
78. Okay. 78 years. All right. Follow me on this. Y'all ready? Where my math wizards at? Okay, check the math. Now, 18 years, if 1 year is 8,760, What is 800, 760 times 18? Okay, this represents your youth. 157,000 hours, 680. This represents your youth. Now, how many hours are in 78 years? 683, 280. Okay. Now, we are going to deduct your youth. 157,680 hours. 525,600 hours. This represents your life in hours. If you're with me, say with you.
With it.
How we spend this time determines your legacy. Now, if you have, this is adulthood, we didn't deduct it 18, right? If you have about 525,000 hours of your life, but let's say 5 days a week, you spend an hour or so straighten up. Let's say you spend 5 hours a week cleaning. Dr. Jamie said, wasting your life. I ain't say that. Dr. Jamie said that. Y'all got to get her on break. Now, if you spend 5 days a week, 5 hours cleaning, how many hours of your adulthood do you spend cleaning?
Too many.
Too many. Y'all ain't answering that one fast. 15,600. 15,600 hours, right? Okay, what does this relate to in days? What's the number? 650 days of your life is spent cleaning over time. This is why we hire help. This is why we hire help, because 650, that's like almost 2 years. But check this out. Let's say you spend 3 hours a day, 3 hours a day after 18 on social media.
You don't want to know.
Yikes. How many hours is that? How many hours? 3 hours a day. 65,700 hours. Dr. Judy, you good at math. Oh, this calculator is working. She said the calculator is working. The calculator is working. 65,700 hours on social media. Now, how many days is that? Oh, Jesus. 2,000 what? 737 and a half days. Well, how many years is that? 7.5. Oh my goodness. 7.5 years. And let's be clear. 7.5 years consecutively. You will spend of your life on social media. If you live to 70, what we say, 78. That means almost a decade is wasted looking at people who don't know you. And got the nerve to not post. You ain't even getting a little piece of the pie. So when people tell me, oh, Ashley, I would join your program, I would work with you, I would do your mentorship, but honey, I don't have time. I just think about the 7.5 years you're spending on something that won't give you a return. I show this, and then how about if you just complain for about an hour to a week with your girlfriends? How many years you gonna spend speaking negativity over your life? Yikes. Time is not the excuse. When people say they don't have time, what they mean is this is not a priority. What they mean is, I know I said I want to grow my business, but I think I have time. And the biggest, time is so incredible because if time were like shoes and bags, we would be able to line up all the hours and see them and use them when we want. But time is tricky because with time, you don't see it being wasted. Your legacy does. And legacy is interesting because you don't normally live to experience the full impact of your legacy if you really have one. So you don't ever get a chance to see it not manifest. Guess who suffers the consequences? Your children and your children's children and all of them. That's who suffers the consequences. So sis, you got time. Say, I got time.
I got time.
Say, I ain't gonna waste no more time. How many of y'all, this was like an aha for you and this helps you to realize I'm wasting years? Just 1 hour a day converts to multiple hundreds of hours, which converts to so many days and years of our life and our legacy wasted. So you brought that up, so we want to appreciate you and celebrate you because you told us that you no longer waste time and give in to social media fear-mongering and all of that stuff.
Thank you for that visual.
Of course. I'm glad you brought it out of me. Thank you. Thank you for bringing that out. This is juicy. We getting to the end now. Rumor spreading. Who had a rumor spread? Child, I done heard rumors about me and I'm listening to the story. It's so juicy. I was like, so what's the Netflix special? They're like, no, that's what so-and-so told me about you. I said, me? I need a book deal. I was like, that's not even true. Rumor spreading. But the thing about rumors is you get a rumor told about you. You hear it from one, maybe two, maybe three people. But now you afraid to post and you afraid to go outside because you think everybody done heard it. You think you Beyonce. You think when you walk out, TMZ gonna be there like, baby girl, we heard that something happened at your event and and that's the trick. That's the trick of your enemies and the enemy. We all have a collective enemy. For some people, it's their thoughts, but it's not their fault. For some people, the enemy is rumor spreading. Well, they said this at my job, and now I don't like her. And then you get so caught up in rumor spreading turns to fuel gossip. And gossip serves to waste time. And when you waste time, you're not wasting time as a intellectual exercise, you're wasting your life. And if you waste your life, then you don't get to have a legacy. And if you don't get to have a legacy, then no one who lives after you gets to benefit from what you did on earth. And so you only live for you, and that's self-serving. So rumor spreading involves circulating unverified. Somebody say no blue check. We don't know if that's true or not, sis. Unverified information to create uncertainty or doubt. And can I just help my sisters out who's been hurt by sisters? Because they do it so sneaky, right? They don't be like what they did in this situation. You know what I mean? They be like, well, I just heard she be eating the dogs and eating the cats. I was like, what? I was like, no, I said I went to Thailand. I was like, she be eating the dogs and eating the cats. I'm like, what? Like, that's not true at all. Like, I was vegan last week. Like, no, it's not true. I just heard she doesn't really like people. I've even heard rumors about my marriage. I was like, I know for a fact it's only me and Chris in my bedroom, so I don't know where you got it from. Right? And so the rumors can also, but here's what they do. They don't just break down your confidence, which is their aim. They come for your reputation. And what's critical for us is like it takes you decades to build a reputation. It takes you seconds to lose your visual in someone's mind. And then what happens is you start to believe that everybody believes it. And then you start to hide. And what's wild is some of us spread rumors about ourselves. How's your business going? Oh, it's not really going that good. It probably won't work out that fast because, it's just been a lot of things going on. Whole time, no, I be looking at the numbers like, sis, you're doing great. I think I sent you a voice note. I was like, by the way, you're doing great. I don't know why you hiding from me, but you're doing great, and I will find you. Like we will spread rumors about ourselves in hopes of seeking humility that is not real. False humility. My pastor says humility is when you never get rid of your desire to learn. So even when you may not agree with something, you're willing and open-minded to be like, maybe I need to learn something else about that. So you got to be careful of the rumors. And women who've been hurt by women, right? It was probably not that many women. Like it's a whole lot of women on the planet. So if you were hurt by 2, 4, 3, 4, 5, 500, there's still a lot of sisters that will mean you well. So let that go. Everybody ain't bad, everybody ain't jealous, everybody ain't petty. Forgive them and move on. And guess what? You have survived 100% of every petty, jealous, ignorant, rumor-spreading woman you've ever come in contact with. So you're 100 and they're 0. So you might as well meet more women and keep winning. Come on. It's women like, I don't like women. I'm like, how many women have you even met? Like, girl, that ain't enough women. Rumor spreading, false, unverified information. Has rumor spreading impacted either of you guys?
Well, not really rumor spreading about me, but just about the business that I practice in, if that's okay?
Yes, of course.
So my name is Lucky.
Love
the name
it.
of my business is Cashist.
Come
and
on.
I help put money back in the pockets of owners.
Yes. And how do you do that?
So I work in unclaimed property services. So I work with 7 states, but the rumor about my business is that individuals and businesses don't need me, and this is spread by the government, because they can do it for themselves for free. And so while you were up there talking, I then wrote, like with one of the posts, they don't want you to believe you need me, but if that were true, they wouldn't be holding on to billions.
Oh.
There's $100 billion in unclaimed property in the United States, and I want to put it back in the pockets of owners. And I also want to say, as far as like meeting women, when I was at Speak Your Way to Cash in Atlanta, I met Dr. Daia. Did I say her name correctly?
Yes.
Okay, and I was telling her about my business and how I work on contingency, which means I don't get paid unless I put that money back in your pocket. And she actually inspired me there to be like, well, what else can you do in order for you to like just be seeing revenue when you're not able to, or the government denies your claim because maybe a paperwork is missing or whatever. So with that, I was able to add offering services of like wills and trust in my business, because a lot of money goes missing because we don't have our financial life in order when we pass away, so our family doesn't know where our money is. So I wanted to say thank you for being a great woman.
I love that. And let me tell you something else. When you say you put money in the pockets of owners, let's enhance that. I put money back in the pockets of owners to help them claim property they never knew they lost. And if you give any stats or data, you should say 50 or 60% of people walking this planet have money that they're owed that's invisible to them. I help them find it. So everyone needs my services. So don't just stop at putting money back in the pocket of owners. Say the how. And this goes to something we'll talk about tonight in Messaging Metamorphosis. Clear is better than cute. Because pocket back to owners, I'm like, okay, is she an accountant? What she do? What she got? You know what I mean? But now I'm like, unclaimed property. I know we have some of that.
Well, I do tax accounting as well, but I actually got into unclaimed property because my dad passed away, and he had a life insurance policy, and I didn't find out about it until 3 years later after I had already paid for all of his services and all of that. So I had to go through a long court process to be able to claim his money, because I didn't probate his estate because I didn't even know he had an estate. So
that's so good. So even that. So you want to, even if you do tax accounting or everything else, there's always going to be an offer that leads. So whatever your offer is that leads for this particular room, y'all want to know how y'all gonna get y'all money this weekend? When you get to that mic, I don't care if you offer 100 things, you find the one thing that is best suited for those that are in this room. And that's how you introduce yourself. So on breaks, people can come to you and say, you know what, I actually may have some unclaimed property. Would you be able to help me with that? Make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Love what you do. Love what you do. Thank you so much for being here. And Dr. Daia is awesome. All right. So I think this is the last one. Kara Lee, you're up, girl. Cognitive warfare.
All right, God.
Cognitive warfare targets decision-making processes, often leading to hesitation or confusion.
Oh, Lord.
How many of y'all clients is getting caught up right here? hesitating, confused, don't know what's going on. Know they need it, but don't want to take action. This is why. And it targets decision-making processes because your life is the culmination of all of your decisions. So if I can get you stuck never making a decision, then I can guarantee you won't get to where you want to go. Some people make decisions quickly. You know who makes decisions quickly? CEOs. I want us to go from just being entrepreneurs to identifying as CEOs. Entrepreneurs is catchy. CEO is a job title. The average CEO in Georgia makes $867,000 a year. Right, bro, exactly. So if that's the case, and we are CEOs, and this is not what the company makes, this is the average salary of the CEO. So when I look at what I should be paying myself, I'm like, okay, what does our company need to make for me to just make the average of what a CEO gets? Cognitive warfare targets decision-making processes because the easiest way to keep an enemy confused is to keep an enemy unclear. I just need clarity. And why don't we have clarity? I can tell you that. That's pretty easy. Because of media manipulation. And why are they manipulating the media? Well, that's pretty easy. How are they manipulating the media? They're doing it with fear-mongering. And then why are they using fear-mongering, or how do they be effective at it? Well, they do it by having disinformation and deceptive practices. And as long as we do all that, then it leads us here to the ultimate, holy grail of warfare things, which is cognitive warfare, which targets decision-making processes. Literally, countries do this. When there's two countries at war, one side will put out a lot of misinformation about the other side, and the other side will put out a lot of misinformation about the other side. And then we all just on TikTok trying to figure out who got the best interpretation of both sides, and then we just share that. We don't know if it's true or not. Why? Because we got decision fatigue because of cognitive warfare. There's a book called The Decision Paradox. It says that back in the day, when you would go to the grocery store to buy jeans, it was like one pair. You'd buy one pair. Now you go and buy jeans, it's 100 pairs. Everything you do, you got options. And everyone says they want more options, but the truth is more options means more fatigue for most of us. And why does it mean more fatigue? Because when we're not clear, we can't make clear-headed decisions. And why aren't we clear? Because what it says on the front of your book. We've discovered that Black women experts are some of the strongest experts this nation has seen, and if they realize it, it's game over. Well, what does it mean that it's game over? It means that they'll start moving faster. They'll start galvanizing. They'll start working together. And what happens when we galvanize and work together and move faster and make decisions, invest in ourselves and help each other and spend money with one another, and then we figure out how we can refer one another, and we're clear-headed, and we're not always so focused on our own lives and our own stuff that we can't help somebody else. What happens is we collectively come up. But if we collectively come up, then I guess we'd have to have businesses like Madam C.J. Walker and Mary Ellen Pleasant that were funded, financed, and also worked by other sisters. But we don't want to have all that, so let's just keep them focused on getting degrees. Because those decisions are easy. I got into Harvard. They want $200,000. Of course I pay it. There's a coach that said they can help me make $2 million. Of course I don't pay it. Why? Because I'm scared. Why would I be scared? Well, because of fear-mongering, because everybody's a scammer. Oh, but if I think everybody's a scammer, then I'll never get help. And if I never get help, then I never get clear. And if I never get clear, then I never change the world. But I do get to die with a degree. Ooh. Can we be real? Because if we get through this, we can get to the fun part. You know what I'm saying? So cognitive warfare. Carolee, this is on you. Now, I want y'all to notice that I didn't know who'd be at the mic when these slides come up. But every single person who's been there has been able to speak to that particular thing in their life. So your slide is cognitive warfare, and it targets decision-making processes leading to hesitation or confusion. So speak to that.
Thanks for the emphasis.
Oh, my bad, girl.
Hello, everyone. My name is Carolee Drummonds. I help experts and consultants get more money and also grow their thought leadership using OPP, which I call Other People's Podcasts.
Love it.
So a through line, I would say, for everything, because I've been up here the entire time, I was told by so many different types of people, my family, and then folks in the workplace,
and even people I dated, you're a lot. And I have worn that for so long, and then I started pushing myself down to the point where, and you've even said that, I didn't know you did all this stuff. I didn't know you did all of this, because I've just learned to make myself super small and fit in this bubble, and whatever you need me to be in this moment, I'll be it. And whenever I go in a room, I figure out, okay, who do I need to be in this room to make everyone else feel? And I learned how to do that really well in corporate. I know how to speak as other people. I know how to write as other people, because that's what I was trained to do in corporate. That's why I'm really good at my job. However, as a business owner, and as someone who had to like figure out how to speak for myself and to create language for my own business, I realized I was trying on clothes that didn't fit, the language that didn't fit me, and I had to figure out, and frankly, I'm still figuring out what that language is for me. I can do it for other people easy. I mean, it comes, right? Because I've been doing that for 15 years. It has been a struggle for me, and getting over the idea of being too much and walking in the purpose of, I am a hyphenate. I am a slash, 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 and it's okay to be that. For the longest time, my family is like, are you confused? You jump not only from job to job, but industry to industry, like totally different jobs. Who are you? And you seem lost. And I'm just, I'm learning at the big old age of 36 to walk fully in all facets of that. And a large part of that is your coaching. So I want to thank you for that. But it's been a lot. And I think I've been in my own way because I've been believing and I've been wearing other people's insecurities on me for so long.
Give it up for Kara Lee. Kara Lee. One, I love you. It's been my honor to coach you. It's also been a privilege to get to know who you really are. And every time I discover something new that you do, like you were a seminarian and you probably, can you sing or is it dance? Both? Both. I ain't shocked. And you can preach and all the things. And what I'll say is there's so many different facets of you because of the wide array of people you're supposed to reach. And every time you have a different experience, you now have a story that you can pull for that audience. So I want you to understand that the reason you learned how to speak in many voices is because you're going to reach people who speak many languages. And there's some pieces of you like dance and song that don't even require you to speak the same language to communicate, so you need that. There's some people that are so deeply religious that they need you to preach to them because they don't understand when you just speak. They go need a little hoop and a holla, so you need that. There's other people that are corporate that you're going to impact, and they don't want you to preach because that's weird to them, so they're going to need you to speak in your corporate voice, so you may need that. So you were not wasting time. You were developing tools for your war chest. Because when you go to battle, honey, there are some guns that shoot a certain way, that have a different nozzle, and then there's other weapons that you use for different situations, and then in some situations, you need a whole different weapon, and so every single thing that you have developed is because for the battle that God has placed you here to fight, you need a diversity of weapons. Amen. Because you are going to win. And everything that you desire is on the other side of you getting fully into who you are. That's where freedom lives. If they don't understand it, give them time to figure it out. That ain't even your business. It is not our burden to bear whether or not people understand us. The truth of the matter is those that are assigned to us will fight to understand us. Now, what we can do is put ourselves in the best position to attract them by communicating fully who we are. So another tool that you've been learning here is sales strategy, sales psychology, language, and copywriting. So you do everything in your power to learn that. But know that once you learn those tools and those skills, all of your experiences become relevant. When I was in college and I was hiring speakers for pay, I had no clue that I have a business called Speak Your Way to Cash where I teach people how to land contracts. When I was doing 20,000 sales calls, getting rejected 95% of the time, I had no idea I would own a sales training company that's the fastest growing company in America. I say that because your story is still being written. And you need all of you to do what you are called to do.
Thank you.
All right, I love you, girl.
Love you too.
Give it up for Carolee. All right, who else was that for? How many of y'all got hidden talents? Hiding stuff. Had all them jobs and thought you was job hopping. You was just skill developing. Tell your family, mama, I'm just getting all my skills. I'm getting all my tools. Say, I'm getting all my tools. You're going to need all your tools. On average, CEOs make thousands of decisions each year, many of which are high stakes. According to McKinsey's, companies that excel in decision making, particularly in fast, somebody say fast, moving environments, see significantly better financial performance than their peers. In fact, companies that prioritize speed, somebody say speed, and quality, somebody say quality, in their decisions can outperform competitors by 20% or more. That's some data for you, ain't it? Speed and quality. How can I go fast and make the right decisions? Practice. If you make all your decisions slow, you have literally nothing to pull from to make fast, good decisions. Because all your decisions took years to make. Imagine this. You're driving on the street. You're in your car. You see a gas station. You're low on gas. Do you stop for gas or not? Why do you stop for gas? Because the car needs gas. So imagine this. You're driving in your business. You see someone that can help. Do you stop for help or not? Why? Because the business needs help. It's not that different. But we are so used to stopping for gas because we saw our parents stop for gas. Because when we buy the car, they tell us we're going to have to stop for gas. And so our muscle memory says stop for gas. In your business, you're taking longer to make decisions because you haven't seen those examples. So you're going to have to become the evidence. Say, I am the evidence. And y'all want to know what? We have survived 100% of every bad decision we've made. In fact, we get lessons out of it. I made a bad decision last week. I was like, that's going to be a good story for the stage. Moving on. One thing you learn as a CEO, the more decisions you make, you get a bad one, you realize it ain't going to hurt you. It's just going to help you to help somebody else. So you make decisions fast. So now we're going to go into the decision matrix. Give me the time for decision matrix on this clock. Ooh, y'all, here's what I need. Y'all ready? Is it still good? Y'all ain't tired, right? All right, we in it. I need some more water up here, Nicole. Give it up for my team. Give it up for all the volunteers. Clap it up for them. Y'all, I'm so excited. Okay, I need like 10 volunteers to go. Of course, sis. To go on. I need y'all to come on the stage. So they done got this stage thing rigged up, okay? I couldn't barely get in here. So I need somebody from my team to help the 10 people get on stage safely because we want it to be safe. Because we're about to go to the decision matrix. Now, here's the thing. Count 10 out. Count 10 out. I see some of my mastermind coming up. Now, look. Here's the thing, you guys. Y'all, do not lose this book. Y'all like these books? For psychological warfare, there's some questions in here, and there's some other things in here that we may get to, we may not. But if we don't, go home on day one and go through this portion of the book so you're fully ready for day two. Now, we got agendas, but if the agenda goes off, I'm going with it. I'm going to just tell y'all now. They like, can I get an agenda before this event? I want to know which sessions to come to, all of them, because anything can happen. Anything can happen. I love an anything can happen environment myself. Now, here's the thing. We ain't even go through all of these objections, but that's okay. The decision matrix is on page, somebody help me out. 25. Okay, yes. I love that for me. So many bright women in the room. 25, okay, good. Now check out this decision matrix. And y'all volunteers, y'all stay ready because I'm gonna have y'all come up. For a long time, many people who's been to a Speak Your Way to Cash event before? Raise your hand. Okay, yes, about it. I love that we have so many new friends here. I love this. Okay, if you've been to anything, in person, virtual, it don't matter. All of y'all been to something, I think. Is it aligned with my goal? If the answer is yes, I'm gonna do it. Easy. that requires you to know what your goals are. How much money y'all want to make this year? Yell out the number. 2 million. 2 million. Yeah. Oh, Shaquille will gangster you, please. Please be quiet so we can see this in real time. I will give Shaquille the mic. I will give her the mic, I promise you. Okay, how much money y'all want to make this year? 2.4 million, half million? $1 million, okay. Some of y'all ain't saying nothing, so that's a problem. Gotta have a goal. If yes, I'm gonna do it. If it'll help me get to my goal, it's an easy yes. Got it? But I added something to the decision matrix because typically when I teach this, I say, if it helps my goal, it's a yes. If it doesn't help my goal, it's a no. But I realized that because of the cognitive warfare and the attacks on clear, fast decisions, I needed to add another piece to the matrix. If I'm unsure, this is the question I ask. Is it a possibility? Somebody say possibility. It will get me closer to my goal. The answer is yes, and I do it. Because entrepreneurs don't need certainty, not the real ones. Now, the ones that just want to be entrepreneurs to say they need to be entrepreneurs for the internet, for the gram, to say they own a business, for their cousin at the barbecue and the cookout, they need certainty because really they know this ain't really what they called to do. But see, the ones that are real don't need certainty because when I left my $300,000 law firm job that was real cushy, real cute, I ain't have no certainty. I had adrenaline. That's what I had. I don't know about y'all. Maybe y'all had certainty. Maybe y'all had good little nest eggs. I had adrenaline. I was like, we gonna do this. I don't know how, but we gonna do this. And when the adrenaline wore off, what I needed was frameworks and systems and coaching and advice and a sales strategy. And so if I wouldn't have answered this question right, Ashley, should you leave your $300,000 job? I was unsure. Is it a possibility it'll get me closer to my goal? It's a yes. Because real entrepreneurs don't need certainty. Your job is guaranteed to pay you because it's the law. As an entrepreneur, you only get paid if you produce. It's life. And so I want to help y'all out. Come on this stage, volunteers. I want to help y'all out. Give it up for them. Okay, so I'm going to have y'all stand like right here, and then I'm going to call some of y'all up. Come on up. Oh, hey, so good to see you again. Come on up. Come like up right there. That way everybody can get on. Because I was trying to figure out how can I exemplify, and we can come down a little bit, how can I exemplify how we're making decisions? Because I also realize, y'all, that some of us are not the ones making our decisions. Sometimes it's somebody else. And we don't know that it's somebody else. And so here's what I want you to do. Because sometimes the person making your decision is your high school bully. Come up, you gonna represent that. I know it ain't you, you just acting, you acting. You acting. Now hold on to this side. Now, because a high school bully said that I wasn't pretty, I can't get on Facebook Live and share who I am because I don't think that I look good enough to do that because she said I wasn't cute enough. She said I was too dark. And so now I don't go live, and I think it's because I'm deciding not to go live, but it's really the high school bully that did that to me, and that person is making my decision. So now the person who meant me harm is determining my destiny, and that's how I realized that you aren't always the one making your decisions. Because at my core, I know I'm beautiful. Absent the interference and the fear-mongering and the things we decided, I know I'm beautiful, but the bully said, you ain't going nowhere. And so now every time I want to go live, I subconsciously think of whoever that was. How many of y'all were bullied growing up? Anyone? I was totally bullied, y'all. I was wrecking shop on those bullies. They were so annoyed with me. I had like my roller book bag. I was rolling over their feet. They're like, roller book bags are lame. I was like, shut up. And forever, I thought it didn't bother me, but then I realized, well, Ashley, that's why you are a control freak. Because you don't trust everybody with you. And maybe some of that's okay, but sometimes it can get a little toxic too. Because then you can't get the help that you need because you're scared that somebody's going to bully you. So, but if you control everything, then nobody can ever hurt you. So this is who's making the decisions about whether or not you scale is your high school bully. But for y'all, some of y'all was cool in high school. So some of y'all didn't have these problems, okay? And so for some of you, maybe the person making your decisions, come here, sweetie, maybe the person making your decisions is your parents who said that you had to be perfect right here. And so you want to start your business. Matter of fact, some of y'all got businesses that's making more than your day job, but you keeping your day job to keep your mommy and daddy proud. Because you were taught to honor your father and your mother, and you think that honor means only doing what they would see as right in their eyes, not honoring them by living by the principles that they taught you. And so your misinterpretation of honor is making your mama make your decisions when you pay all your bills yourself. Because maybe that's you mama. Now what's mama saying?
Mama says, you better keep that good job.
You better keep, we got to get her a mic. Where the mic at? We need a handheld up here. Because she know what mama said. That's sure what mama said. Somebody hand me that handheld mic. She said, mama said, you better keep that good paying job. But then some of you, it's not your mama, come over here. You come over here, you gonna do this one. It's your daddy. But I can't say that it was necessarily a good daddy. You saw your daddy struggle, so you hold on right here. And because daddy struggled, you never wanted to struggle. And so what you do, what you do is you don't take any risks at all because you don't want to end up like your daddy. So every opportunity that's presented to you, it's a no because it's too much of a risk. So every time someone says, hey, I could help you to do something over here, I see something in you, I see more in you, and you try to go towards it, pull back. You try to go towards it, you can't because you saw daddy struggle, and so you can't struggle like your daddy. But then for some of you, maybe it's not even that. Come over here, Lenitra, you're going to represent the media. See, some of you, it ain't even that. It's that you, hold this mic for me, sis. For you, it's like you see so many images of women who you perceive as successful. Hold on right here. That if you don't look like what you've seen as the standard, you don't move forward. And so you're supposed to grow. You're supposed to go to the places you're invited. You're supposed to take up space. You're supposed to speak at the event. But every time you get invited, you second guess yourself because you ain't got nothing to wear. So you thinking, I can't go because I don't look good enough. So you make up some other excuse. Well, I can't find a sitter, knowing good and well you ain't try. You ain't try. Babies are a beautiful excuse. Can we be real? When I had Christelle, I looked at Chris, I said, baby, now we got a permanent reason to say no. Can we be honest? Right? But really, she's a permanent reason to say yes. Now come over here, because for some of y'all, it's not the media. For some of you, it's your past failures. Come over here. You're going to represent the boss that said you weren't good enough, that didn't give you a promotion. Matter of fact, you're going to represent the boss that you are afraid of getting mad at you for promoting your business on LinkedIn. So instead of you promoting, you so scared that they gonna find out you got a side job that you don't do nothing. So people are telling you to market, and I'm telling you to pitch, and I'm telling you to scale. And every time you step out, you like, that boss gonna find out. And you know what's crazy? Some of us ain't had a boss in a while. And before I decided to do Black Women Sell Live, I thought I was going to get fired. I was so scared of doing an event with Black women in it that I thought somebody was literally going to harm me, hurt me, or fire me. I had to repeat to myself, Ashley, you don't have a boss. You are the CEO. You are safe. You can do different things. You can do it for Black women. They're not going to come after you. And if they do, your daddy still knows how to handle a thug. So don't worry about it. But some of you, your boss is like this. Oh, I would grow my business, but I'm afraid they're gonna see it on LinkedIn. I would run ads, but what if my family sees it? They're gonna be so embarrassed by me. Come over here, cousin at the cookout. Come on, you coming over here, Dr. Viola, you the cousin at the cookout. Because some of y'all had that cousin, every time I see you, you doing something else. She always up to something. So you're afraid of growing your business and impacting the world because the small circle of who you know don't support you. And you ain't got no vision for no business that's for your 10 family members, no ways. So why does it matter? Well, it matters because growing up, big cuz was supposed to be the one that's successful. So how can little cousin do it? Who's the younger sibling? Who's the little cousin? Who's the one who got big cousins and maybe you're doing a little bit better than them? So you don't move forward. So now you're wondering why you can't make decisions. You're wondering why you're standing still and you're walking in a circle. And it's because you never even tried to make the decision. You never had a chance to make the decision. Because the people whose words hurt you are controlling your decisions. And what's crazy is when you're standing still thinking that you're moving. And what's wild is I can stand in the same spot and still be moving. Because look at this, I'm moving, I just ain't going nowhere. And for many of you, you are settling for safe and secure instead of free. You are settling for the appearance of freedom to everyone else because to your family, it looks like you're moving because you are. But in your spirit, you know that you ain't going nowhere fast. This is how we are making decisions, some of us. Thinking about everybody else. And so the truth of the matter is, y'all, until you realize they're hanging on to you, you can't get help. Now, y'all gonna represent help. Come over here, y'all 3. Look at that, 3 left. Ain't God good? Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, right? Okay, so we got 3. Y'all gonna stand in the front. Now, how do you get free from this? If my hands are bound by their decisions, I need help to get free. Now, I want you to see her. Because you are more advanced than me in this particular area and getting free from familial strongholds, you can see that this is really a family stronghold, not me making decisions. So what do? So now you loose the grips and now my hand is free, right? And so with my hand being free, because she's helped me free from that one, now that you're there, you can see this one right here. So now you can see that boss don't mean me no harm. That boss miserable themselves. So now you done got that one off me. And then you realize that the media has really been holding me back. And so you can get rid of the media for me. And now I'm like, wow, I can see myself differently. And because I got a little bit of help, now I can kind of have a better angle to move these other people along. And this is, come on, move with me. Don't give up, because strongholds don't give up. So when you are moving a little bit, even with the strongholds, you can still move a little bit more. But what's so incredibly interesting is even though I can move a little bit more, stay with me, y'all ain't gonna hurt me, I'm strong, I've been in the gym. Even though you can move a little bit more, it slows you down. So you need more help. She coming through with the karate chop. Now she represents a real friend. See, what a real friend will do is they won't just say, sis, you look beautiful. They will see past the okays and I'm all right, and they'll say, well, baby, how your spirit doing? Because I saw that post you made and it looked like you was happy, but I felt a twinge of depression on it. And I just want to make sure that you're okay. And so when you see that, you realize that it was really that high school bully that's making me not trust you. And then she says things like, baby, you're safe with me. I don't need nothing from you. I don't want nothing from you. I just want to help you. And I'm going to be here for you. And even when I don't tell her what's wrong, she just starts praying for me. And all of a sudden, when she starts praying for me, she don't even got to touch none of these people because her prayer allows me to see this clearly. And now I can start letting go of some of these things, but then there's some things that you realize you need more help, baby. You're going to represent a coach. See, a coach is here for the big ones. This Papa. So the thing is, with Papa Bear, you're going to need a coach to say, let me tell you what you're really dealing with. And how can a coach tell me what they're really dealing with unless the coach then been through some things? And many of y'all are working with people with all the pretty pictures, and I get it, it's cool, I like a good look myself, but I need you to know I've gone to war for myself. So when I come to show up for war for you, it's not based on what I read, it's based on what I've been through. And so what you're gonna do is you're gonna help me to see me clearly, so that I can see him clearly, and then together, we're gonna put our hands right here, and then we're gonna be able to get free from this. And all of a sudden, because my coach didn't help me get free, now I can run. And all of a sudden, this has been on stage the whole time. Did y'all know it was a whole bag of money right here? I didn't even see it. Why didn't I see it? Because I was too caught up with my enemies. Caught up with the thoughts of people who didn't mean me anything well. And the truth is, y'all, our family means us well, but someone can only help you get free to the extent that they understand freedom. So somebody locked up in jail shouldn't be giving examples and selling no course on how to get out. Baby, you locked up, telling me how to get out. I'll never forget, I got arrested one time, long story short, and we go smooth on by it. Everybody got a pass. Who has a record in here? Don't raise your hand, I know. Law says about a third of the room anyways, I know my data. Sealed my own record, so don't go looking for it. I'm a good lawyer. I was in that holding cell, and will you believe it was a sister in holding telling me how to rob a bank, and I'm like, well, sis, me and you is in the same predicament. I I mean, laying that thing out. She like, the trick is don't go in with a mask. I'm like, what? Are we serious right now? True story. I was trying to impress some sorority girls. We ended up stealing some like deodorant from Walmart. It was very stupid. And then I tell them what I'm in for. They're like, oh, girl, we could have told you Walmart got the best security. I'm like, now y'all know everything. Ain't that how it be? People ain't got nothing to show for their success, giving you all the advice and data. Well, I read a book on it. Ma'am, have you lived it? We don't realize that we aren't making our own decisions. We don't realize that because we're slow to make decisions, it typically means that we aren't living in our instinctual power. Instincts allow us to move fast. Deliberation comes when we're unsure. But have you ever seen a child when they're walking around, they're so confident. Like Christelle literally went to swim class on day 1 and was like, I don't need you to hold on to me, I can swim. The swim instructor was like, can your baby swim? I said, that baby cannot swim. Do not listen to her. And what blew my mind is how you a swim coach listening to a 3-year-old telling you she can swim. Can't you tell by the way she's moving that she can't swim? And the reason that she believed her was because Christelle sold certainty. She was like, I can swim. I don't need your help. And then he kind of let her try to swim a little bit. She fell a little bit and she realized, okay, well, maybe I can use a little help. But instinctively, there's something in my 4-year-old that I think all of you need to adopt, which is instincts. Because really, she can swim. She just didn't know how to swim yet, but she could swim. So she wasn't even off verbally. She can swim. Now she's swimming laps. She done moved up in all her swim classes, and now she's on to playing tennis. And not only is she on to playing tennis, but just like some of the coaches out here, she played 1 lesson, came home and taught my husband. Daddy, it's low to high. So I want to thank you guys for representing freedom. Was that visualization helpful? Give it up for them, give it up for them. Thank you guys so much. They'll escort you guys back. And we know none of y'all represent nothing negative, all positive things. Y'all was just excellent actresses and actors, for sure. You could, yeah, maybe take that mic back down. They probably got another one. So the decision matrix is critical. If you can't make decisions fast, you can't be a CEO that runs a large organization. So what you have to decide, am I going to choose freedom or not? Are y'all gonna choose freedom? Say freedom. So that means you gotta know how to make your decisions.
Yeah. Energy high, excuses low. Energy high, excuses low. Energy high, excuses low. Energy high, excuses low. I need energy, need only good people that's around me. All the faith you can give, that's the recipe.